The death core of Krieg Fortress Monastery on the planet Gehenna Prime was a monument to cheerful fatalism. Gas-masked soldiers marched in perfect formation, artillery thundered continuously, and every single guardsman seemed genuinely excited about dying for the Emperor. Alucard loved it immediately. "This is amazing," he said, walking through trenches that stretched for kilometers. "Everyone here is super into death. It's like a whole planet of goths, but they actually commit to the aesthetic." Inquisitor Vex, who'd been tracking Alucard's movements despite their parting, had arrived to find the vampire already embedded with Krieg forces. The orcs had been temporarily left on their ship. Even Gazkul understood that bringing greenskins to a death core position would start a war nobody wanted. Well, nobody except Alucard. The death core of Krieg are the Imperium's most devoted soldiers, Vex explained, trying to maintain some semblance of control over this situation. They seek redemption for their planet's ancient heresy through dying enthusiastically in trenches. Alucard interrupted. "Yeah, I got that. It's adorable, like watching puppies, but the puppies are wearing gas masks and have severe guilt complexes." A Krieg watchmaster approached, the highest-ranking officer in this sector, identified only by slight variations in his uniform and gas mask. He spoke through his rebreather, voice distorted and mechanical. "Unidentified entity, state your purpose." "I'm here to help you die," Alucard said cheerfully. "I mean, help you fight. Although with you guys, those seem to be the same thing." The watchmaster stared at him through gas mask lenses. It was impossible to read his expression, but Alucard got the distinct impression he was being evaluated for summary execution. "We have reports," the watchmaster said slowly, "of an entity matching your description. Unkillable, allied with Xenos. Potential demonic—" "Oh, I'm way worse than demonic," Alucard interrupted. "Demons are just angry emotions given form. I'm a fuck-mothering vampire. I've killed a lot of people to get this title, and I deserve to be called such." Silence fell across the trench. Even by Krieg standards, soldiers who'd seen everything, this was unusual. "Did you just—" Vex started. Yes, I did." Alucard grinned. "And if you've got a problem with that, we can discuss it very thoroughly. I'm free all evening. And I mean all evening, I don't sleep." The watchmaster processed this. "You claim to be undead." "Technically, I'm unliving. There's a difference. Dead implies I stopped at some point. I just kept going out of spite." Alucard leaned against the trench wall, somehow making even that look suggestive. "So, what are we fighting today? I heard you've got a chaos incursion. Something about Nurgle cultists in the eastern trenches?" "Affirmative. Plague Marines of the Death Guard have established positions in Sector 17. We are preparing an assault." "Plague Marines?" Alucard's eyes lit up. "Oh, those sound delightful. Are they as disgusting as I hope? Because I've fought a lot of things, but rotting super soldiers is a new one. They are vectors of disease, corruption made manifest. To engage them without proper— Oh, please. I'm literally sustained by absorbed souls and regenerate from being vaporized. What's a little plague going to do?" Alucard paused. "Actually, wait, can I get diseases?" "That's a legitimate question. I've never tried." Vex pinched the bridge of his nose. "This is a terrible idea." "All my best ideas are terrible ideas," Alucard agreed. "That's what makes them great. So, Watchmaster, when do we assault? I'm ready to get deep into those trenches. Really penetrate their defenses. Give them something they'll never forget." The Watchmaster's gas mask tilted slightly. "Your phrasing is unusual." "I'm an unusual guy. 500 years of immortality gives you a unique perspective on language and combat and personal boundaries, which I've thoroughly forgotten." He drew his guns, checking the magazines. "So let's get this started. I want to see what these Plague Marines can do. The assault begins at dawn. We will advance through no man's land under artillery cover, breach their trenches, and engage in close combat until everyone's dead except us," Alucard finished. "Yeah, I've done trench warfare before. World War I. Very romantic. Lots of mud, lots of screaming, lots of soldiers dying in horrible ways. Good times." A Krieg soldier nearby, impossible to tell rank through the uniform, spoke quietly to his companion. "Is he enjoying this?" "I think he's enjoying making us uncomfortable," the other replied. "Mission accomplished," Alucard called out, having heard them perfectly. "And just wait until we're actually fighting. I get very enthusiastic in combat. Some might say too enthusiastic. Those people are cowards." The Watchmaster turned to Vex. "Inquisitor, is this entity stable?" "No," Vex said flatly. "But he's effective, and he's here whether we want him or not. So we might as well point him at the enemy." "I'm right here," Alucard pointed out. "You can talk to me instead of about me. I'm very approachable. Some might say too approachable, especially during combat. I get very hands-on." "That's what concerns me," the Watchmaster said. "Oh, you're concerned now?" Alucard laughed. "Wait until you see me fight. I'm like a horror show, but sexy. Well, sexy if you're into blood, violence, and the screaming of the damned, which, given your whole aesthetic here, you might be." The Krieg soldiers exchanged glances. Their entire culture was built on stoic acceptance of death, unwavering devotion to duty, and absolute emotional suppression. Alucard was the exact opposite of everything they stood for. "Dawn assault," the Watchmaster repeated. "Until then, you will remain in the reserve trenches. Do not fraternize with the men. Do not interfere with operations. Do not make everything weird," Alucard suggested. "Too late. I make everything weird just by existing. It's a gift." He wandered deeper into the trenches, leaving Vex and the Watchmaster to discuss damage control. As he walked, Krieg soldiers pressed themselves against the trench walls to avoid him, their gas masks turning to track his movement. "You guys are adorable," Alucard said to one group, "all masked and mysterious, very kinky. I approve." The soldiers said nothing. They never did. Krieg guardsmen rarely spoke, communicating through hand signals and the occasional terse command. "Strong, silent types," Alucard continued. "I can work with that. Although fair warning, I talk constantly during combat. It's part of my charm. Some people find it annoying. Those people are usually the ones I'm shooting." He found a firing step and climbed up, looking out across no man's land. The terrain was apocalyptic. Craters filled with toxic sludge, barbed wire stretching for kilometers, the twisted remains of previous assaults rotting in the perpetual smog. And in the distance, the chaos trenches. Even from here, he could smell the corruption. Nurgle's rot, decay made manifest, the stench of death that refused to finish dying. "Oh, this is going to be fun," Alucard whispered to himself. Plague zombies, trench warfare, gas masks, and the distinct possibility of getting very dirty. It's like someone designed a battle specifically for my enjoyment. A Krieg soldier climbed up beside him, checking the sights on his laser gun. Alucard glanced at him. "You know," he said conversationally, "I fought in trenches like these once. World War I, France specifically. The mud was terrible. The rats were everywhere, and everyone was just so eager to die for their country. Remind you of anyone?" The soldier didn't respond. Didn't even acknowledge Alucard had spoken. Right, strong and silent. Got it." Alucard looked back at the chaos lines. "Well, when we assault tomorrow, try to keep up. I move fast, and I'd hate for you to miss the show." From the command bunker, the Watchmaster watched the vampire through magnoculars. He'd fought for 3 decades, survived battles that killed entire regiments, seen horrors that would break normal men. But this thing, this creature that mixed violence and inappropriate humor, that treated war like entertainment, that seemed genuinely excited about the coming bloodshed, was something new. "Inquisitor," he said to Vex, "that entity, it will not follow orders." "No," Vex agreed, "it won't. It will cause chaos in our formations. Almost certainly. It may corrupt our men through prolonged exposure." "Possible? Then why do you permit it to remain?" Vex lowered his own magnoculars, watching Alucard charm or disturb another group of Krieg soldiers. "Because tomorrow, when we assault those Plague Marine positions, that vampire will kill more enemies than an entire company of your best soldiers. He'll laugh while doing it, make it inappropriate, and thoroughly enjoy himself. But he'll win. At what cost?" "That," Vex said grimly, "is what I'm here to determine." Night fell on Gehenna Prime. In the trenches, Krieg soldiers prepared their weapons, checked their gas masks, and mentally prepared for the dawn assault. And Alucard sat on a firing step, humming a tune from 500 years ago, cleaning his guns and thinking about all the wonderfully violent things tomorrow would bring. "Deathcore of Krieg," he said to himself, grinning in the darkness. "You have no idea what you're in for, but don't worry, I'll make it memorable." Dawn broke over Gehenna Prime like a suppurating wound, gray, infected, and accompanied by the sweet stench of death. The Krieg artillery opened up precisely at 600 hours, shells arcing across no man's land to pound the chaos positions. Alucard stood at the trench lip, coat billowing in the shockwaves, watching the bombardment with obvious appreciation. "Beautiful," he said to the watchmaster beside him, thousands of explosive shells raining down like angry metal rain. "It's almost romantic. You ever think about how similar artillery and foreplay are? Both involve sustained bombardment before the actual penetration." The watchmaster's gas mask tilted toward him. The silence was deafening. "No? Just me then." Alucard grinned. "Fair enough. I've been told I have a unique perspective on these things." The barrage lifted. Whistles blew. The ancient signal to advance. Thousands of Krieg guardsmen climbed from the trenches and began their march across no man's land, moving in perfect formation despite the toxic sludge, barbed wire, and corpses underfoot. Alucard vaulted over the trench lip and started skipping, through a war zone, while humming. "Is that entity skipping?" a Krieg officer voxed to the watchmaster. "Affirmative," came the deadpan reply. "That is not standard assault protocol." "I am aware." Alucard reached the first barbed wire obstacle and simply phased through it, his body becoming shadow for a moment before resolidifying on the other side. These defenses are so cute. Wire to slow you down, mines to blow you up, all very phallic and aggressive. I love it. The Krieg soldiers advanced mechanically, cutting through wire, sweeping for mines, maintaining formation despite casualties from long-range fire. They were professional, efficient, utterly emotionless. Alucard was none of those things. "Contacts," a squad leader called out. "Plague Marines, Trench Line Alpha." The Chaos Space Marines emerged from their positions, hulking figures in corrupted power armor, covered in pustules and rot, carrying weapons that wept diseased fluids. Their very presence was toxic. Even through sealed gas masks, the Krieg soldiers could feel the wrongness. Alucard saw them, and his grin widened impossibly. "Oh, hello there," he called out. "Don't you all look delicious? And by delicious, I mean absolutely fucking disgusting, which is exactly my type. Come here, you gorgeous plague-ridden monsters." He drew the jackal and castle and charged. A Plague Marine fired its bolt gun, mass-reactive rounds designed to penetrate ceramite armor. They struck Alucard center mass, detonating inside his torso, blowing chunks of his body across the battlefield. He regenerated mid-stride and kept coming, laughing. "Oh, you tease, blowing holes in me on the first date. I like a partner who's aggressive." He reached the first Plague Marine, a massive thing that reeked of death and decay, and shot it point blank in its diseased face. The blessed round punched through corrupted ceramite and whatever rotting flesh existed underneath. The plague marine stumbled, but didn't fall. Its fellows opened fire, bolter rounds saturating the area. Alucard was torn apart, reduced to chunks of meat and blood spray. The Krieg soldiers, advancing in precise formation, watched as those chunks flowed back together, reforming the vampire in seconds. "Is that all you've got?" Alucard asked, reloading, because where I come from, we call that foreplay. And let me tell you, I haven't even gotten started yet. He vaulted onto a plague marine's shoulders, wrapping his legs around its helmet in a position that was simultaneously combat effective and deeply inappropriate. "This is intimate," he announced, pressing both guns against the Chaos Marine's head and firing until the skull exploded in a shower of rot and diseased brain matter. The corpse collapsed. Alucard rode it down, dismounting with a theatrical flourish. "Who's next? Don't be shy. I've got enough for everyone." A plague marine swung a plague sword, a massive blade weeping toxins. Alucard caught it bare-handed, the toxins immediately beginning to corrode his flesh. His hand started to rot, skin sloughing off, bones visible. "Ooh, kinky. You're into the rough stuff." He let the rot spread up his arm, watching with fascination as his own flesh decayed. "This is actually really interesting. I can feel it trying to kill me at a cellular level. Very thorough. I appreciate the effort." Then his regeneration kicked in, fighting the plague. New flesh grew over rotting tissue, a war playing out on a microscopic level. The plague marine seemed confused. Its God-gifted diseases were being rejected by this creature's impossible biology. Alucard head-butted the Chaos Marine hard enough to crack its helmet. "Sorry, but I'm taken. Well, not really, but I've got standards, and rotting plague zombie doesn't meet them." "No offense, you're very committed to the aesthetic, I respect that. But it's a no from me." He shot the plague marine 7 times, each round punching through different vital areas until it finally collapsed. Behind him, the Krieg soldiers had reached the Chaos trenches. What followed was brutal close-quarters combat. Bayonets, trench clubs, point-blank lace gunfire. The Death Corps fought with mechanical efficiency, trading lives for ground with mathematical precision. Alucard fought like he was having the time of his life. "This is amazing," he shouted, dual-wielding stolen plague swords, cutting through Chaos cultists with abandon. Trench warfare, close combat, the smell of death and corruption. It's like Christmas, but better. A cultist tried to stab him. Alucard let the blade sink into his chest, grabbed the cultist's face, and drank deeply. The cultist's blood was tainted with Nurgle's corruption, toxic and foul. Alucard pulled back, made a face, and spat. "Okay, that tastes like ass, and not good ass, like diseased, rotting ass that's been left in the sun for 3 weeks. I'm genuinely impressed you people can survive with that in your bloodstream." He dropped the drained corpse and looked around. The Krieg soldiers had taken the first trench line and were already advancing to the second, leaving trails of bodies, both Chaos and their own, behind them. "You guys are efficient," Alucard called to the nearest watchmaster. "No wasted movement, no hesitation, just constant forward momentum until everyone's dead. It's beautiful. Makes me a little emotional, actually. If I could cry, I would." "Plague Sorcerer, command bunker," a Vox operator shouted. "Warp signature detected." "Ooh, a sorcerer." Alucard's eyes lit up. I love magic users. They're always so confident right before I tear their throats out. Where is he? The watchmaster pointed at a reinforced bunker 300 meters ahead, wreathed in diseased warp energy. "That structure, it is heavily defended. We estimate 40% casualties to..." Alucard was already gone, a red blur streaking across the battlefield. He hit the bunker's entrance at full speed, phasing through the heavy blast door like it wasn't there. Inside, Chaos cultists scrambled to react. The plague sorcerer, a bloated thing in corrupted robes, skin weeping pustules, turned to face him. "Foolish mortal," it wheezed, voice thick with phlegm. "You dare enter the sanctuary of—" "Oh, please," Alucard interrupted, shooting 3 cultists without looking at them. "I've heard better intimidating speeches from Catholic priests. And they were trying to save my soul, not damn it. At least put some effort into your villain monologue." The sorcerer raised one rotting hand, and diseased warp energy lashed out. It struck Alucard, and his flesh immediately began to rot, to decay, to die. This wasn't normal plague. This was Nurgle's own corruption, decay given divine purpose. Alucard looked down at himself, watching his body literally fall apart. Okay, this is actually really unpleasant. You've got some serious power behind this curse. I'm genuinely impressed." He took a step forward, his leg bones visible through rotting muscle. Another step, and parts of him started falling off. By the 3rd step, he was barely held together. "But here's the thing about me," he said, his voice bubbling through a throat that was half dissolved. "I'm really fucking stubborn." His regeneration surged, fighting the corruption with overwhelming force. New flesh grew over rotting tissue. Bones reformed, organs regenerated faster than the plague could destroy them. It was a war between Nurgle's divine decay and Alucard's supernatural immortality. Alucard won. He stood before the sorcerer, fully restored, grinning. That was fun. Let's do it again, but this time, he blurred forward, grabbed the sorcerer by its bloated throat. "I get to play offense." The sorcerer tried to cast another spell. Alucard bit into its neck before it could finish, drinking deeply. The corrupted blood burned going down, toxic and foul, but Alucard didn't care. He drained the sorcerer completely, absorbing its corrupted soul into his collection. 3,000,001 now, screaming in his consciousness. "You taste like failure and poor life choices," he said, dropping the withered corpse. "But thanks for the snack." The remaining cultists in the bunker stared at him in horror. Alucard turned, blood dripping from his mouth, eyes glowing crimson. "Now," he said, voice layered with 3,000,000 screaming souls. "Who wants to die next? Show of hands. Don't be shy." They ran, all of them scrambling for exits, terrified beyond reason. Alucard let them go, watching with amusement. "That's right, run. Tell your Chaos friends. Tell them the fuck-mothering vampire is here, and he's taking everyone's souls today." The assault on the Chaos positions had been a complete success. The Death Corps held the trenches, Plague Marines had been purged, and the Sorcerer's command bunker was now an Imperial asset. Casualties, 47% of the Krieg assault force. For the Death Corps, this was acceptable. For Alucard, standing in the captured command bunker covered head to toe in corrupted blood and plague residue, it was hilarious. "You people are insane," he said to the Watchmaster, who'd arrived to assess the situation. "Half your force is dead, and you're calling this a victory. I love it. You're like tactical nihilists with really good aim." "Acceptable casualties for strategic gain," the Watchmaster replied mechanically. "The Emperor protects." "Does he, though?" "Because I noticed he didn't protect those 47% who are now corpses in the trenches. I protected myself, but that's because I'm unkillable. Your guys are just optimistically mortal." Inquisitor Vex entered the bunker, flanked by stormtroopers who immediately trained their weapons on Alucard. Not threatening, just prepared. "You deviated from the assault plan," Vex said. "There was a plan." Alucard looked genuinely surprised. "I thought the plan was run at the enemy until everyone's dead." Which, coincidentally, is exactly what I did. So really, I followed the plan perfectly. You charged ahead of the main force, engaged enemies without support, and consumed a Chaos Sorcerer. Okay, yes, those are all accurate statements. But in my defense, Alucard paused, thinking, "No, actually, I have no defense. I just really wanted to bite a plague wizard. It seemed fun at the time." The sorcerer's soul, Vex pressed. You absorbed it. A chaos-corrupted entity is now part of your consciousness. Yep, Alucard said cheerfully. He's in here with all the others. He tapped his temple, screaming a lot. Something about Nurgle's displeasure. It's adorable. He'll quiet down in a few decades. You're not concerned about chaos corruption? Alucard laughed. Genuinely, deeply laughed. Inquisitor, sweetheart, I've had Catholic priests, Protestant ministers, Orthodox patriarchs, and one very enthusiastic rabbi. All try to save my soul over 500 years. If they couldn't redeem me, chaos sure as hell can't corrupt me. I'm already damned. Can't fall further than the bottom. A Krieg medic entered the bunker, saw Alucard covered in plague residue, and immediately began scanning for contamination. The Auspex readings went insane, detecting Nurgle's corruption, warp taint, and biological impossibilities. Subject should be dead, the medic reported in a monotone. Multiple lethal pathogens detected. Cellular decay at 97%. Organ failure across all systems, yet subject remains animate. I get that a lot, Alucard said. It's my natural charm. The medic continued scanning, clearly confused. Subject's biology is regenerating faster than the corruption can spread. This should not be possible. And yet, Alucard spread his arms wide, spraying plague blood across the bunker walls. Here I am, living proof that should not be possible is just a suggestion. Vex made a decision. Quarantine protocol, seal the bunker. We're not risking plague contamination spreading to— Oh, please, Alucard interrupted. You're going to quarantine me. That's adorable. Remember when you tried to contain me back on Venaxis 7? How'd that work out? You escaped by walking through walls, regenerating from plasma fire, and generally being unkillable. Yeah. So unless you've got better containment this time, I'm going to politely decline your quarantine and go take a walk. A walk, Vex repeated flatly. A very enthusiastic walk, Alucard clarified, his grin widening. Through your camp. Maybe through the surrounding area. I'm feeling energetic after that fight. All that violence really gets the blood pumping. Well, other people's blood. Mine's more of a metaphysical suggestion at this point. You will remain. Alucard was already walking toward the exit, phasing through the Watchmaster and stormtroopers like they weren't there. I'm going for a walk, he called back. A very enthusiastic walk, and nobody can stop me because I'm a fuck-mothering vampire. He emerged into the captured trenches, where Krieg's soldiers were already establishing defensive positions and processing casualties with mechanical efficiency. They looked up as the blood-soaked vampire strode past, humming a tune from 5 centuries ago. Don't mind me, Alucard called out. Just taking a walk, a very enthusiastic walk, through your beautiful war-torn hellscape. If you hear screaming in the next hour or so, that's probably just me having fun. A junior officer approached cautiously. Sir, we have orders to contain me, kill me, politely ask me to stop being terrifying. Alucard's grin widened. Good luck with that. I'm very hard to contain. Some might say impossible to contain. Those people are correct. He walked past the officer, heading toward no man's land. Behind him, he could hear Vex barking orders, Krieg's soldiers mobilizing, the Watchmaster calling for support. Alucard didn't care, because in the distance, beyond the chaos trenches they'd just captured, he could sense more enemies, cultists, plague marines, maybe another sorcerer or two. All of them blissfully unaware that a bored immortal vampire was about to make their day significantly worse. Oh, this is going to be fun, he whispered to himself, shadows beginning to writhe around his coat. A very enthusiastic walk indeed. He started running, not human running, predator running, faster than the eye could track, moving like liquid shadow across the blasted landscape. The remaining chaos forces ahead didn't even see him coming. They felt him, though, felt the psychic pressure of 3 million souls bearing down on their positions. felt the approaching doom of something that refused to die. Alucard hit their lines like a crimson hurricane, and the screaming began. Alucard's very enthusiastic walk lasted 6 hours and resulted in the complete destruction of 3 Chaos Cult compounds, 2 Plague Marine strongholds, and 1 minor demon summoning that he interrupted mid-ritual. The cultists had not appreciated the interruption. Alucard had not cared. By the time he returned to the Imperial lines, he was covered in so much blood that his red coat had turned a deeper crimson, and he was dragging a severed Chaos Champion's head by its hair. "I'm back," he announced cheerfully to the horrified Krieg soldiers manning the checkpoint. "Miss me? I brought a souvenir." He held up the head. "Anyone want it?" "No?" "Shame. It's got a great screaming expression. Really captured the moment when he realized he was very fucked." The checkpoint officer, identifiable only by a subtle rank marking on his gas mask, stared at him. "You were ordered to remain in the secured zone." "I was advised to remain in the secured zone," Alucard corrected. "There's a difference. Advise all you want. I'm still going to do whatever I feel like. It's kind of my thing." He tossed the severed head at the officer, who caught it reflexively. "That's for your watchmaster. Tell him his chaos problem in sectors 12 through 17 is solved. You're welcome. I accept payment in the form of pointing me at more enemies." Inquisitor Vex was waiting in the command bunker, and he looked like a man who'd aged 10 years in 6 hours. "You were supposed to coordinate with Imperial forces, not conduct a solo rampage through enemy territory." "Rampage is such an ugly word," Alucard said, dropping into a chair that groaned under his weight despite him being relatively thin. "I prefer aggressive reconnaissance, or enthusiastic intelligence gathering, or my personal favorite, going for a walk and killing everything that looked at me funny. You destroyed 3 cult compounds. They were in the way. You killed 2 Plague Marine squads. They shot at me first. I was just being polite and returning fire. Excessively. You interrupted a demonic summoning. That one was actually an accident," Alucard admitted. "I didn't know they were summoning anything. I just heard chanting and thought, ooh, a party. Turns out it was a ritual party. Very different vibe. But I adapted. Shot the summoner in the face. Watched the half-formed demon get sucked back into the warp. Called it a day." Vex pulled up a tactical display showing the sectors Alucard had carved through. The devastation was thorough. "You've single-handedly accomplished what we estimated would take 3 regiments and 2 months of sustained assault." "I know," Alucard beamed. "I'm very good at my job, which is apparently being a walking apocalypse. It's a niche position, but someone's got to fill it. The Watchmaster wants you removed from his operational theater." "Of course he does. I make him uncomfortable. I make everyone uncomfortable. It's half the fun." Alucard leaned back, putting his boots on the tactical display, which showed the blood on his soles smearing across sectors 15 and 16. "But here's the thing, Inquisitor. You need me. Because while your Krieg soldiers are very good at dying efficiently, I'm very good at not dying while killing everything else. You're also uncontrollable. I prefer enthusiastically independent." He grinned. "Besides, you knew what you were getting when you decided to work with me. A 500-year-old vampire with no respect for authority and a really unhealthy love of violence. This shouldn't be surprising." Before Vex could respond, alarms screamed throughout the facility. A panicked Vox operator's voice. "Contacts! Multiple signatures approaching from the northwest. Identification. Oh, Emperor, it's the orcs, the vampires' orcs. 50,000 of them." Alucard's grin widened impossibly. "Oh, wonderful. Gazkul's here. I told him where I'd be. He must have gotten bored waiting on the ship. You invited an orc Wa to a deathcore position." Vex looked like he was developing an aneurysm. "Do you have any idea what will happen when these 2 forces meet?" "Probably a fight," Alucard said excitedly. "A big fight. With lots of casualties and screaming and violence, it'll be amazing. This is a disaster. This is entertainment, Alucard corrected. He stood, stretched, and headed for the exit. Come on, Inquisitor. Let's go meet Gazkul before your Krieg friends start shooting. I'd hate for everyone to kill each other before I've had a chance to introduce them properly. He walked out into the trenches, where Krieg's soldiers were already manning defensive positions, heavy weapons trained on the approaching green tide. In the distance, the rumble of orc vehicles was audible, a sound like industrial machinery having a seizure. And at the front of the Wa, visible even from kilometers away, was Gazkul Mag Uruk Thraka himself, riding a massive battle wagon that belched smoke and fired its weapons at random intervals just for the fun of it. "Boss!" The war boss's voice boomed across the battlefield, amplified by crude Vox systems. "We came like you said, brought the boys, ready for a proper scrap." Alucard waved back enthusiastically. "Perfect timing. I've been killing Chaos cultists all morning, and I'm ready for something new." The Watchmaster appeared beside Alucard, bolt pistol drawn. "Those are Xenos. We are obligated to—" "Oh, please," Alucard interrupted. "These are my Xenos. Well, not my in the possessive sense. They're independent agents who happen to enjoy fighting alongside me. It's a very healthy relationship built on mutual appreciation for violence. We cannot allow—" "Can't allow what?" Gazkakul's battle wagon screeched to a halt 50 meters from the Imperial lines, and the war boss dismounted with enough force to crater the ground. "Can't allow orcs. We there now. What you gonna do about it?" Alucard stepped between the two forces. Krieg on one side, orcs on the other, both armies on the verge of opening fire. "Gentlemen and orcs, let's all take a deep breath. Well, those of you who breathe, and discuss this like civilized beings capable of mass violence." "There is nothing to discuss," the Watchmaster said. "Xenos must be purged. Humies must be crumped," an orc knob shouted back. "Or," Alucard said loudly, "we could all recognize that there are way more chaos forces on this planet, and we could temporarily not kill each other so we can kill them instead. Just a thought. A very reasonable thought from someone who's usually very unreasonable." Gazkul grunted, his mechanical eye focusing on the Watchmaster. "You to get in charge?" "Affirmative." "You good at fighting?" "Affirmative." "Boss says you real good at dying for your Emperor." The war boss grinned, showing metal teeth. "That's actually pretty awkward. Respectable." The Watchmaster processed this. Being called respectable by an orc was unexpected. "You approve of our tactical doctrine? Dying for something you believe in?" Gazkul nodded. "That's proper, even if it is a bit weird. We orcs fight 'cause we like it, but you humies fight 'cause you gotta. It's different, but respectable." Alucard looked between the Krieg Watchmaster and the orc war boss, a plan forming. "You know what? I think you two would actually get along. You're both very focused, very committed to your respective causes, and you both have excellent aesthetics for brutal warfare." "We cannot ally with Xenos," the Watchmaster said flatly. "We don't ally with humies," Gazkul agreed. "Then don't ally," Alucard suggested. "Just temporarily don't kill each other. Point your guns in the same direction. Kill chaos forces for different reasons. You for the Emperor, them for the fun of it. Same result, different motivations. Everyone wins." "Except chaos," Vex added, having joined the group. "They would lose. Significantly." Gazkul considered this. "So we ain't allies. We just both happen to be crumping the same gits at the same time?" "Precisely," Alucard said. "It's not cooperation, it's parallel aggression. Completely different thing." The Watchmaster was silent for a long moment. Then, the Emperor would not approve. "The Emperor's been a corpse for 10,000 years, Alucard pointed out. "I don't think he's in a position to complain. Besides, you're still dying for him, just with green allies who happen to be next to you while doing it." We ain't allies, Gazkul corrected. We just both like killing chaos gits. See? Common ground, Alucard grinned. Now, who wants to assault the main chaos stronghold? I hear they've got a demon prince in there. Should be fun. Very intimate combat. Lots of penetrating defenses and thrusting into their positions. The Watchmaster's gas mask tilted slightly. Your phrasing is deliberately uncomfortable? Yes, I do that. Alucard's grin widened. So, are we doing this or what? Because I've got an enthusiastic walk scheduled for later, and I'd like to fit in a proper assault before then. Gazkul laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that made the ground vibrate. I liked his plan. We crumped a chaos gits, Boss Air makes it weird, and everyone's happy. Except the chaos forces, Vex repeated. Exactly. Alucard spread his arms wide. So let's get started. Deathcore, orcs, one very enthusiastic vampire. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, Vex thought. Literally everything could go wrong. But he kept that thought to himself. The assault on the Chaos stronghold was going perfectly, which meant it was going absolutely insane. Krieg soldiers advanced in disciplined lines, firing laser guns with mechanical precision. Orcs charged with reckless abandon, shooting wildly and screaming with joy. And Alucard was somewhere in the middle, laughing maniacally while dual-wielding stolen chaos weapons and making inappropriate comments about the architecture. These fortifications are very phallic, he shouted over the gunfire. All these towers and spires, very aggressive, very penetrative. I approve. Then the Adepta Sororitas arrived. The Order of the Bloody Rose, battle sisters in crimson power armor, wielding blessed bolters and flaming passion for the Emperor, had been en route to assist with the Chaos Purge. They'd received reports of the assault. Krieg forces, acceptable. Chaos stronghold, primary target. Orcs and a vampire leading the charge, unacceptable. Their seraphim descended from the sky on jump packs, landing between the advancing forces and the stronghold in a thunderous display of holy fury. The canoness, Sister Superior Carmilla, a veteran of 3 crusades, raised her blessed power sword. Halt! Her voice, amplified by her armor's vox, cut through the chaos. In the Emperor's name, we cannot permit this heresy, orcs and abominations fighting alongside his soldiers. This is intolerable. Alucard looked up at the descending battle sisters, and his grin became positively predatory. Oh, hello? He holstered his weapons and actually waved. Battle nuns in power armor, with flamers. This is the best day I've had since yesterday, but still. Very exciting. Sister Carmilla's helmet turned toward him, and even through the armor, he could feel her disgust. You are the vampire. The report spoke true. An unholy abomination, consorting with the Xenos, corrupting Imperial forces. That's me, Alucard confirmed cheerfully. Although I prefer fuck-mothering vampire, if we're being accurate. And I'm not corrupting anyone. I'm just here, being myself, and people react poorly. It's not my fault I'm naturally disturbing. You will stand down. Submit to Imperial custody. The orcs will be purged. This assault ends now. Or, Alucard suggested, and hear me out here, you could join us. We could all assault the Chaos Stronghold together, and afterward we can discuss my unholy abomination status over drinks. I'm very good company. Some might say too good. Very charming. Devastatingly so. The canoness's power sword ignited with holy fire. Enough! Sisters, purge the vampire! 20 battle sisters opened fire with blessed bolters. The rounds struck Alucard from multiple angles, each one detonating with sanctified fury. His body was torn apart, chunks of vampire scattered across the battlefield. The sisters paused, weapons smoking. Then the chunks started moving, blood flowed together, flesh knitted, shadow wrapped around reforming bone. Within seconds, Alucard stood exactly as he had before, brushing dust off his coat. "Okay," he said, his voice dangerously cheerful. "That was rude. I was being friendly, and you opened fire with blessed ammunition. That's just hurtful. Makes a guy feel unwanted." "He regenerated from blessed rounds," one of the battle sisters said, shock evident even through her helmet's vox. "I regenerate from everything," Alucard corrected. "Blessed, cursed, regular, explosive, doesn't matter. I'm very thorough about not dying. It's kind of my brand." Sister Carmilla advanced, power sword raised. "Then we will destroy you until nothing remains to regenerate." "Oh, you're going to destroy me?" Alucard's grin widened. "With your sword. That's very forward. I like that in a woman. Very aggressive, very dominating. Are you always this assertive, or is it just the power armor?" The canoness actually hesitated, thrown by the sheer audacity. What? I mean, the armor's great," Alucard continued, walking toward her casually despite the bolters tracking his movement. "Very form-fitting. Covers everything important. Very modest, but I bet underneath all that ceramite. You're absolutely fierce. Am I right? I'm usually right about these things." "Enough!" Carmilla swung her power sword. The blessed blade, wreathed in holy flame, carved through Alucard's neck, decapitating him cleanly. His head hit the ground and kept talking. "Ooh, kinky. Decapitation on the first encounter. You don't waste time, do you? I can respect that." His body caught the falling head, placed it back on his shoulders, and the wound sealed instantly. "See, this is fun," Alucard said, his head now properly reattached. "We're bonding through violence. It's very healthy. Some therapists recommend it, actually." "Probably." The battle sisters were staring now, their training warring with the sheer impossibility of what they were witnessing. Blessed weapons were supposed to work on unholy entities. That was the whole point. Sister Carmilla's voice was tight with strain. "What are you?" "I'm a vampire," Alucard said simply. "A very old, very unkillable, very enthusiastic vampire who's been killing things for 500 years, and right now I'm trying to assault a chaos stronghold, and you're getting in my way, which is rude." "We cannot permit—" "Oh, please," Alucard interrupted. "You're battle sisters. You fight chaos. We're fighting chaos. We're on the same side. Sure, I'm doing it because it's fun, and you're doing it because the Emperor commands, but same result. Dead chaos cultists everywhere." A younger battle sister stepped forward. "Canoness, he makes a logical point. The primary threat is the chaos stronghold. We could address the vampire afterward." "Thank you," Alucard pointed at her. "Smart girl. See, someone gets it. Prioritize. Chaos first. Existential dread about vampires second." Carmilla looked at her sisters, at the advancing orcs and Krieg forces, at the chaos stronghold belching corruption into the sky. Her training said, purge the abomination. Her tactical sense said, use every available asset. "You will fight alongside us," she said finally. "But afterward, you can try to kill me again," Alucard finished. "I know. Everyone wants to kill me afterward. It's basically tradition at this point. But first," he drew the jackal and castle. "Let's show these chaos bastards what happens when Deathcore, orcs, battle sisters, and one extremely enthusiastic vampire all decide to ruin their day." The assault resumed with renewed vigor. Krieg soldiers, their disciplined advance now supported by battle sisters' blessed weaponry. Orcs, excited by the presence of new humies to impress with their fighting prowess. And the sororitas, fighting with holy fury despite their deep discomfort with their temporary allies. And Alucard, charging ahead of everyone, laughing like a madman. "This is amazing," he shouted, shooting chaos cultists while dodging battle sister flamers. Nuns with guns, Kriegers with Kriegi enthusiasm, orcs being orcs. It's like someone designed this specifically for my entertainment. He reached a chaos champion, a massive warrior in corrupted Terminator armor. The champion swung a power maul wreathed in warp energy. Alucard caught it. "Nice weapon," he said conversationally, his hand burning from contact with the chaos artifact. "Very girthy, compensating for something." He twisted, breaking the champion's grip, and shot him 3 times in the face with the castle. "Size isn't everything, friend. It's about technique." Sister Carmilla fought nearby, her power sword carving through cultists with practiced efficiency. Despite herself, she found her attention drawn to the vampire's fighting style, utterly without form, completely improvisational, somehow devastatingly effective. "You fight like a madman," she called out. "Thank you," Alucard called back, shooting a demon that was trying to manifest. "I've been perfecting this style for centuries. It's called do whatever works and laugh the entire time. Very advanced technique." "That's not a technique." "Then explain why it's working." He vaulted over a barricade, phased through a wall, and emerged behind enemy lines. "I'll wait." The battle sisters advanced, their blessed bolters cleansing corruption with every shot. The orcs charged with gleeful abandon. The Krieg soldiers maintained their mechanical efficiency, and Alucard made it all weird. "You know what this reminds me of?" he shouted to no one in particular. "That time in Berlin, World War II, lots of Nazis, lots of violence, very similar aesthetic, good times." "Focus on the enemy," Carmilla ordered. "I'm focused. I'm just also providing commentary. I can multitask." He shot 3 cultists without looking. "See, multitasking." They breached the stronghold's inner sanctum, where a demon prince of Slaanesh waited, a being of corrupted beauty, all sensuality twisted into wrongness. The demon looked at Alucard and smiled. "Oh, a vampire, how delicious. Would you like to experience true pleasure, true excess?" Alucard looked at it, looked at Sister Carmilla, looked back at the demon. "Are you trying to seduce me? A Slaanesh demon is trying to seduce me?" He started laughing. "Oh, honey, you have no idea how out of your league you are. I've been propositioned by better demons in better circles. You're like discount bin seduction, clearance rack corruption." The demon's smile faltered. "I am a prince of... Yeah. Prince of excess, pleasure, all that jazz." Alucard waved dismissively. "But here's the thing. I've been alive for 500 years. I've seen everything. Your temptations are just Tuesday for me. So how about you skip the seduction attempt and we just fight? I promise to make it memorable." The demon shrieked in rage and attacked. The battle that followed was spectacular, disturbing, and thoroughly inappropriate. And Alucard enjoyed every second of it. After the demon prince was banished, violently, excessively, with Alucard making comments that scandalized the battle sisters and impressed the orcs, the assault force gathered in the captured stronghold. Sister Carmilla stood at attention, clearly struggling with what to say. "You fought well. For an abomination." "Thank you." Alucard grinned. "You fought well too. For a nun with severe authority issues. See, we can exchange compliments. We're bonding." "We are not bonding. We're totally bonding. I can feel it. The start of a beautiful friendship built on mutual violence and religious tension." Gazgul approached, his massive frame making the captured command chamber feel small. "Dat was a proper scrap. De Humi nuns fight good, very burny." One of the battle sisters raised her flamer defensively. Gazgul laughed. "Easy, Humi. I ain't here to fight ya. Unless you want to, I'm flexible." Alucard stepped between them again. "Everyone, let's not start killing each other now. We just successfully assaulted a chaos stronghold together. That's a bonding experience. We should celebrate." "Celebrate?" Carmilla's tone was icy. "With Xenos and vampires? Why not? I've celebrated with worse." Alucard paused. "Actually, that's a lie. You're all pretty terrible company by most standards, but I like terrible company. It's more interesting." An orc nob, one of Gazkul's most trusted lieutenants, was examining the battle sister's armor with obvious interest. "Oh aye, boss, these Humi nuns got real good armor, all shiny and burny." "It is good armor," Gazkul agreed. "Very proper." Alucard noticed the orc's fascination and grinned wickedly. "You know what I just realized? I've been traveling with orcs for weeks now, and I still don't know how you reproduce. You just sort of appear, grow from the ground. It's very mysterious." "We's fungus," an orc said matter-of-factly. "We grow from spores." Alucard blinked. "You're mushrooms?" "Yep. You're all giant, violent mushrooms who love fighting." "That's right." "And when you die, you release spores that grow more orcs?" "Exactly. See, the Humi orc gets it." Alucard started laughing. Genuinely, deeply laughing. "You're mushrooms. The greatest warrior race in the galaxy, the beings who've terrorized the Imperium for 10,000 years, are mushrooms. That's the funniest thing I've heard in centuries." "What's so funny?" Gazkul demanded. "Being fungus is proper. We don't need all that complicated mating stuff. The Humies do." "Oh, I'm not criticizing." Alucard wiped his eyes, still grinning. "It's brilliant. No mating, no relationships, no complicated biology, just violence and spores. It's perfect. You've eliminated all the messy parts of existence and kept only the fighting. I'm genuinely impressed." Sister Carmilla listened to this exchange with mounting horror. "We are discussing Xenos reproduction in a captured Chaos stronghold with a vampire." "I know," Alucard said excitedly. "Isn't it great? This is the kind of multicultural exchange the Imperium needs. Understanding, dialogue, learning that your enemies are giant mushrooms." "The Humi nuns don't mate either," an orc observed. "They just fight and pray. That's kinda like orcs, but with more burning." The battle sisters stiffened collectively. One of them, Sister Magdalena, spoke quietly. The orc just compared us to their species. "It's a compliment," Gazkul insisted. "Humi nuns fight good, very dedicated, very burny. That's respectable." Alucard was enjoying this far too much. "You know, he's not wrong. You battle sisters have a lot in common with orcs. Single-minded dedication to a cause, love of violence, complete disregard for personal safety. The main difference is they're mushrooms and you're celibate zealots. Functionally very similar." "We are nothing like Xenos," Carmilla snapped. "You're both asexual warrior cultures who exist solely to fight." Alucard pointed out. "The orcs do it through spores, you do it through religious devotion, but same result, no reproduction, all violence. It's beautiful in its simplicity." "I will shoot you," Carmilla threatened. "You already did. Didn't take. Want to try again?" "I'm very accommodating." He turned to Gazkul. "So, just to clarify, you literally just grow from the ground, like actual mushrooms?" "Yep. And the bigger the fight, the bigger the spores. So more fighting makes more orcs." Gazkul seemed proud of this. "It's a very good system." "It's genius," Alucard agreed. "A self-perpetuating war economy. The more you fight, the more of you there are, which means more fighting. It's the perfect feedback loop. Whoever designed your species was a sadist, and I respect that." "The brain boys made us," an orc said. "Long time ago, for fighting some real big gits. Well, they did an excellent job. A+ work. Would recommend." Alucard looked at the assembled forces. Krieg, orcs, battle sisters, all standing in an uneasy truce amid the ruins of a Chaos stronghold. "You know what? Despite how absolutely insane this all is, I think we make a good team." "We are not a team," Carmilla said firmly. "Temporary alliance of convenience," Vex corrected, having been observing from the sidelines, "with very strict limitations." "Sounds like a team to me," Gazkul rumbled. "It's definitely a team," Alucard agreed, A weird, dysfunctional, probably heretical team, but a team nonetheless. We should get matching tattoos or shirts, something to commemorate this moment. Absolutely not, every non-orc voice said simultaneously. We should get shirts, an orc said enthusiastically, with pictures of Crump and Chaos Gits. See, the orcs get it. Alucard grinned. They understand the value of team-building activities. Sister Carmilla holstered her bolt pistol with obvious restraint. Inquisitor Vex, how long must we tolerate this entity? Until he stops being useful, Vex said grimly, which unfortunately, maybe never. I heard that, Alucard called out. And you're right, I'm very useful, unkillable, enthusiastic, great in combat, and I make everything more interesting through my natural charm and disturbing personality. You make everything uncomfortable, Carmilla corrected. Same thing, discomfort is just interest with anxiety. He looked around the captured stronghold. So what's next? More chaos to purge? Different planet? I'm open to suggestions, as long as they involve violence and give me opportunities to make inappropriate comments. I'm in. Gazkul pulled out a crude map, actually a piece of metal with continents scratched into it. There's more chaos strongholds, air, ear, and ear. Also some weird Necron things waking up into north. Necrons? Alucard perked up. Those are the ancient robot skeletons, right? The ones who are all beep boop, kill the living? They don't beep, an orc corrected. They just shoot you with weird green things. Even better, I haven't fought ancient undead robots yet. That's going on the list. Alucard turned to the group. So, shall we continue our very awkward alliance? Purge some chaos, shoot some robots, make everyone uncomfortable with my personality? The Emperor will judge us for this, Carmilla said quietly. He's been a corpse for 10,000 years, Alucard reminded her. I don't think he's in a position to judge anyone. But sure, blame the dead guy if it makes you feel better about working with a vampire and mushroom men. We's proud to be mushrooms, Gazkul declared. As you should be, Alucard agreed. Own that fungal heritage. Celebrate your spore-based reproduction. It's unique. Sister Magdalena leaned toward her canoness. Is this what going insane feels like? I believe so, Carmilla replied. The Emperor tests us in strange ways. Or, Alucard suggested, having heard them perfectly, the Emperor has a sense of humor and is watching this whole thing like it's entertainment. Because it is entertaining. Admit it, you're having fun. I am not having fun, Carmilla said through gritted teeth. You're definitely having fun. You're just in denial about it. It's okay. Fun is allowed, even for warrior nuns with severe religious devotion. He grinned at her. We should do this more often. Team up, kill chaos, bond through mutual violence. We are bonding, she insisted. We's totally bondin', an orc said helpfully. The assault force stood in awkward silence, processing the absolute insanity of their situation. Kriegers who never showed emotion were experiencing something that might have been confusion. Orcs were proud of being mushrooms. Battle sisters were questioning their life choices, and one vampire was enjoying every second of making them all uncomfortable. It was, Alucard thought, absolutely perfect. So, he said cheerfully, who's ready for round 2? 3 days after the Chaos Stronghold fell, a new Inquisitor arrived. Lord Inquisitor Matthias Crane, Ordo Hereticus, with 40 years of experience breaking heretics and a reputation for thorough interrogations. He took one look at the reports. Vampire, allied with Xenos, corrupting Imperial doctrine, making battle sisters uncomfortable, and decided immediate action was required. Which is how Alucard found himself back in an inquisitorial interrogation chamber. You know, Alucard said, sitting comfortably despite the blessed chains binding him to the throne. This feels very familiar, like déjà vu, but with more religious iconography and disappointed authority figures. Inquisitor Crane stood beyond the null field barrier, flanked by 2 tech priests operating enhanced interrogation equipment. He was an older man, augmented extensively, with bionic eyes that glowed a faint red. "I have read the reports," Crane said, his voice cold and mechanical. "You are an abomination, unkillable, corrupting, a threat to everything the Imperium stands for." "Oh, you read about me." "I'm flattered." Alucard grinned. "Did you get to the part where I killed a demon prince? Or the bit about fighting alongside orcs? That's my favorite chapter. Very action-packed. You will answer my questions, truthfully, completely." Crane activated a control panel, and the interrogation throne began its work. Neural probes extending, stimulators designed to cause exquisite pain without permanent damage. Alucard felt the probes pierce his skull and laughed. "Oh, you're starting with the neural stimulation. That's very forward. Most people buy me dinner first. Not that I eat, but it's the principle of the thing." The tech priests increased the pain levels. The neural probes fired, sending agony directly into Alucard's brain, pain that would reduce a normal human to screaming unconsciousness within seconds. Alucard's grin widened. "Ooh, harder. Wait, is that inappropriate?" "It feels inappropriate, but also accurate." Crane's bionic eyes narrowed. "You are enjoying this." "I'm enjoying making you uncomfortable with how much I'm enjoying this," Alucard clarified. "It's a very meta experience, pain plus psychological warfare, very stimulating, pun intended." One of the tech priests spoke in binary cant, which translated, "Subjects' neural patterns are abnormal. Pain registers, but triggers endorphin release rather than trauma response." "This should not be possible." "Nothing about me should be possible," Alucard agreed. "But here I am, existing, being a problem, making Inquisitors question their life choices." Crane walked closer to the null field barrier, studying the vampire. "You cannot be broken through pain." "Noted. We will try other methods." He activated a different system. Psychic probes, designed to tear through mental defenses and expose memories, secrets, the deepest parts of a subject's mind. The probes dove into Alucard's consciousness and encountered 3 million screaming souls. The tech priest operating the psychic interface immediately began bleeding from his augmetic ports. "Overwhelming data, cannot process, too many consciousnesses, system failure." "Yeah, that happens," Alucard said sympathetically. 3 million absorbed souls tends to overload most scanning equipment. It's why I can't get good medical care. Nobody's scanners can handle the volume." Crane shut down the psychic probe before it killed the tech priest. "You have consumed 3 million human souls. Give or take. I lost count around the Renaissance. Very busy century. Lots of wars. Good times. Each one a crime against humanity. Each one was someone trying to kill me and failing," Alucard corrected. "Self-defense, technically. Very aggressive self-defense that involved drinking them dry and absorbing their consciousness, but still, technically self-defense." Crane pulled out a data slate, scrolling through reports. "You have fought alongside Xenos, specifically orcs led by war boss Gazkul." "Yes, great guy. Well, great orc. Technically a mushroom, which I recently learned. Very committed to violence. We get along wonderfully." "You have consorted with the Adepta Sororitas." "Consorted is such a loaded word," Alucard said. "We fought together. I made them uncomfortable. They tried to kill me. Standard Tuesday. You have corrupted Death Corps soldiers with your presence." "Have I, though? They're still dying enthusiastically for the Emperor. If anything, I've made them more enthusiastic by giving them better enemies to die against." Alucard leaned forward as much as the chains allowed. "You're looking for corruption where there isn't any. I'm not trying to turn anyone to chaos. I'm not trying to destroy the Imperium. I'm just here, being myself, and people keep shooting at me." "Because you are an abomination." "Well, yeah, obviously. But I'm a useful abomination." I kill chaos cultists. I fight demons. I make inappropriate jokes that distract enemies long enough for Imperial forces to shoot them. It's a whole skill set. Crane set down the data slate. I've spent 40 years breaking subjects, making them confess, making them beg for mercy. He stepped closer to the barrier. You will be no different. Oh, baby. Alucard's grin became predatory. You have no idea how wrong you are. I've been tortured by experts. Catholic inquisitors who invented half the techniques you're using. Protestant witch hunters who got creative. I spent 30 years being hunted by people who made torture into an art form. And you know what I learned? His eyes glowed crimson behind his glasses. I learned that pain is just sensation, and sensation is fun. So go ahead, Inquisitor. Do your worst. Try to break me. I guarantee you'll give up long before I do, and I'll enjoy every second of making you uncomfortable with how much I'm not breaking. Crane activated every torture device simultaneously. Neural probes, psychic invasions, chemical stimulators, blessed implements designed to burn unholy flesh, even sonic weapons that vibrated at frequencies designed to liquefy organic matter. Alucard screamed, not in pain, in laughter. Yes, all of it. Give me everything. His body was being destroyed and regenerating continuously, a cycle of death and rebirth happening dozens of times per second. This is amazing. You people have weaponized suffering. It's beautiful. The tech priests were panicking now, their binary cant filled with alarm codes. The equipment was overloading, not designed for a subject who enjoyed the torture, who regenerated faster than they could damage him. Crane stood frozen, watching this creature laugh through torments that would kill a space marine. What? What are you? I'm a fuck-mothering vampire, Alucard said through the pain and pleasure and absolute insanity of the moment. I've killed a lot of people to earn that title. I deserve to be called such, and you... He focused on Crane through the barriers and torture and chaos. You're just another authority figure who thinks they can control me. Spoiler alert, you can't. The torture equipment exploded. All of it simultaneously, overloaded by the sheer impossibility of what it was trying to accomplish. Sparks flew. Tech priests scrambled to shut down systems. Alarms screamed throughout the facility, and the blessed chains binding Alucard shattered. He stood, shadows writhing around him, eyes blazing, grin sharp enough to cut. That was fun. We should do this again sometime, maybe with more creative implements. I've always wanted to try Mechanicus neural flares. They sound exotic. Crane drew his plasma pistol, hands shaking. Stay back. I will destroy you utterly. You'll what? Alucard stepped through the null field barrier like it wasn't there, the psychic suppression having no effect on something that predated the warp's influence. Shoot me? Torture me more? Call for backup? I've heard it all before, Inquisitor, and it never works. He walked past Crane, heading for the exit. But thank you for the session. Very stimulating. Great use of Imperial resources. Really made me feel alive. Well, undead. But you get the idea. Where are you going? Crane demanded. I'm going for a walk, Alucard said cheerfully. A very enthusiastic walk. Through your facility. Maybe I'll visit the Battle Sisters again. See how they're doing. Make them uncomfortable with my presence. You know, normal vampire stuff. I forbid. Alucard turned, and for just a moment, the playful mask dropped. 3 million souls stared out through his eyes, ancient and terrible, and utterly beyond the Inquisitor's authority. You don't forbid me anything, he said quietly. I'm here because I choose to be. I fight alongside the Imperium because it's entertaining. But the second you people become more annoying than the enemies you want me to fight, I leave. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. The mask returned, the grin sliding back into place. But we're not there yet. Still having fun? Love the torture sessions. Very bonding. Let's do lunch sometime. Well, you'll do lunch. I'll watch you eat and make it weird. It'll be great. He walked out, leaving Crane standing in the ruins of his interrogation chamber, surrounded by sparking equipment and traumatized tech priests. "Sir," one of the tech priests said quietly. "What do we do about the vampire?" Crane holstered his plasma pistol with shaking hands. "Nothing. We do nothing. Because he's right. We can't stop him." "Then what do we do?" "We pray," Crane said quietly. "We pray the Emperor protects us from what we've unleashed." In the corridor outside, Alucard was humming again, walking with a spring in his step. The interrogation had been delightful. The Inquisitor's growing horror, the failed torture, the final confrontation, all of it perfectly entertaining. He turned a corner and nearly walked into Sister Carmilla. "Oh, hello," he said brightly. "I was just tortured, very thoroughly. It was great. How's your day been?" She stared at him, clearly processing the statement. "You were tortured?" "Yep. Neural probes, psychic invasions, the works. Inquisitor Crane is very committed to his craft. I respect that." He tilted his head. "Want to get coffee? Or whatever Battle Sisters drink? Sacred wine? Blessed water? I'm flexible." What? Coffee? Or tea? Or just standing around making uncomfortable small talk? I'm trying to be social." His grin widened. "Come on, sister. We fought together. We killed demons together. That's basically a date by 40k standards." "That is not a date." "You're right. A date would involve more candlelight and less dismemberment." "My mistake." He started walking again, and she fell into step beside him, not because she wanted to, but because she was apparently too stunned to do otherwise. "So, what brings you to this lovely torture facility? Visiting? Sightseeing? Checking on the vampire everyone keeps trying to kill?" "The latter," she admitted. "I received reports that Inquisitor Crane was conducting enhanced interrogation." "He was. Very enhanced. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Made him very uncomfortable with how much I enjoyed it. Would recommend 5 stars." They walked in silence for a moment. Then Carmilla asked quietly, "Does nothing affect you? No pain, no fear, no humanity?" Alucard's grin faded slightly. "Oh, things affect me. I just learned a long time ago that showing it doesn't help. Pain is temporary. Well, for normal people. For me, it's very temporary. Fear is useful until it isn't. And humanity?" He laughed, but it was darker. "I gave that up 500 years ago when I became a vampire. Can't miss what you never had? Well, what you stopped having. The details are complicated. You were human once. Once. Long ago. Then I died, came back wrong, and spent 5 centuries being a monster." He looked at her. "But at least I'm honest about being a monster. Your Imperium is full of monsters pretending to be heroes. I prefer my way." Before she could respond, alarms screamed throughout the facility. A panicked Vox broadcast. "All personnel, chaos incursion in Sector 9. Multiple demon manifestations, requesting immediate..." The broadcast cut off in screaming. Alucard's grin returned, sharp and eager. "Well, looks like my enthusiastic walk just got more interesting. Want to come, sister? Kill some demons, bond through violence?" Despite everything, despite her training and faith and absolute conviction that this vampire was an abomination. Carmilla drew her bolt pistol. "Lead the way." "That's the spirit." Alucard drew his own guns. "This is going to be fun." They ran toward the chaos together. Warrior nun and fuck-mothering vampire, unlikely allies in the eternal war against darkness. It was, Alucard thought, the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Or at least a friendship built on mutual violence and religious tension. Close enough. The chaos incursion had manifested in Sector 9, the fortress's primary generatorium, where plasma reactors powered the entire facility. Demons poured through a warp rift, and if they reached the reactors, the resulting explosion would vaporize everything within 50 kilometers. Alucard and Sister Carmilla arrived to find the sector already overrun. Bloodletters and demonettes fought each other as much as they fought the defenders. Khorne and Slaanesh forces competing for dominance even while manifesting. "Oh, this is chaos," Alucard said delightedly. "Actual chaos, fighting itself. It's like watching dysfunctional roommates, but they're all demons and want to kill everyone." "We need to seal the warp rift," Carmilla said, her tactical mind already working. "If we can reach the central chamber and activate the Geller field generators, you want to penetrate their defenses and thrust deep into their positions." Alucard's grin widened. "Sister, that's very forward of you." "That is not..." She stopped herself, clearly deciding this wasn't the time. "Just follow my lead and try not to make everything weird. No promises." They charged into the demon horde. Carmilla's blessed bolter sang its hymn of destruction, each round finding demonic flesh with practiced precision. Alucard dual-wielded the jackal and Kasul, shooting with one hand while using the other to grab a bloodletter and tear its head off. "You know what I love about demons?" he shouted over the gunfire. "They're already damned. I don't have to feel bad about killing them. It's very liberating." They fought through the outer chamber, toward the central corridor that led to the generatorium core. The path was narrow, lined with defensive positions that the demons had overrun, bodies of Imperial defenders scattered throughout. "The defenses have been breached," Carmilla observed grimly. "Multiple times from the looks of it," Alucard said. "Very thorough breaching. The demons really committed to their penetration of Imperial positions. They went deep. Can you please stop making everything sound sexual? Can you please stop setting me up with perfect straight lines?" He shot 3 daemonettes without looking. "If you didn't want me making innuendo, you shouldn't have said penetrate and thrust in the same sentence. That's just asking for it. A greater demon, a keeper of secrets. All sensual wrongness and predatory grace emerged from the warp rift ahead. It saw them and smiled. "Oh, a warrior of the false emperor," it purred, voice like poisoned honey. "And a vampire. How delicious. Would you like to experience true pleasure before you die?" "Is that your pickup line?" Alucard asked. "Because it needs work. Very generic. No personality. You're like the Tinder profile of demons. Looking for souls to corrupt. Must enjoy excess. Slaanesh worshippers to the front." The keeper's smile faltered. What? "See, you're already confused. That's not a good sign for a seduction demon." He looked at Carmilla. "Want this one or should I?" "We take it together," she said firmly. "On my mark." "Ooh, together. Very intimate." "I like where this is going. We focus fire on the central mass, and are you even listening?" "I'm listening and providing commentary, multitasking." He fired at the keeper, blessed rounds sparking off its unnatural hide. "Also, this demon has great defenses. Very hard to penetrate. We're really going to have to work together to get deep enough to do real damage." Carmilla made a sound that might have been a scream of frustration or a prayer for patience. Possibly both. She opened fire with her bolter, rounds detonating against the demon's form. The keeper laughed, the sound painful to mortal ears. "Your weapons cannot harm me. I am pleasure incarnate, desire made manifest. Surrender to..." Alucard shot it in the face. "Shut up. You're not seducing anyone. This isn't that kind of story." The demon recoiled, genuinely offended. "How dare you? I dare because I'm unkillable and you're just annoying." He looked at Carmilla. "You know what? I'm going to do something I don't usually do. I'm going to get serious." His shadows erupted, not the playful constructs from before, but something darker. The air grew cold. The light dimmed. And for just a moment, the Keeper of Secrets, a greater demon of the dark gods, felt something it hadn't felt in millennia. "Fear." "Level 0, Alucard said quietly, and the temperature dropped 20 degrees. "Full release. Every soul I've consumed, given form. 3 million damned consciousnesses, all very enthusiastic about killing demons. The spectral army manifested. Knights, soldiers, civilians, every person Alucard had absorbed over 5 centuries. They swarmed the Keeper like a tide of screaming history. The demon fought back, its claws carving through dozens of spectral warriors, but for every soul it destroyed, 10 more took their place. They climbed its legs, grabbed its arms, pulled at its perfect form. "You cannot win," the Keeper shrieked. "I am eternal. I am annoying," Alucard finished. He walked calmly through the chaos, his spectral army keeping the demon occupied. "That's what you are, annoying. All of you Slanesh demons, always going on about pleasure and excess and seduction. It's boring. I've heard it all before." He reached the demon, placed both hands on its central mass, and pulled. Not physically, spiritually, trying to tear the demon's essence away from the warp, to consume it as he'd consumed 3 million humans. The Keeper screamed. "Oh, you don't like that?" Alucard's grin was manic now. "Don't like having someone try to consume you? Welcome to how everyone else feels, asshole." Sister Carmilla watched this display with a mixture of horror and fascination. The vampire was literally trying to eat a greater demon. It shouldn't work. Demons were warp energy, not mortal souls, fundamentally incompatible with vampiric consumption, but Alucard was trying anyway, and it was working. The Keeper's form began to destabilize, its perfect shape warping as Alucard's will invaded its essence. The demon thrashed, trying to break free, but 3 million spectral souls held it in place. "I can't fully consume you," Alucard admitted, his voice strained. "You're warp stuff, not soul stuff, incompatible biology, but I can damage you. Tear pieces off, make this hurt." He twisted, and part of the demon's essence tore away, dissipating into nothing. The Keeper shrieked in agony and rage. "Impossible! No mortal can—" "I'm not mortal," Alucard roared, his voice layered with 3 million souls. "I'm something your Chaos Gods don't have a classification for, and I'm really fucking tired of demons trying to seduce me." He tore away another piece of the demon's essence, and another. Each one cost him. His regeneration struggled to maintain form while containing 3 million souls, his consciousness fractured under the strain. But he kept going. Finally, the Keeper of Secrets' form collapsed, unable to maintain cohesion. It was banished back to the warp, screaming its fury the entire way. Alucard stood in the aftermath, breathing heavily despite not needing to breathe, his spectral army dissipating back into his consciousness. That, he said, was exhausting. And awesome, but mostly exhausting. Carmilla approached cautiously. "You damaged a greater demon. Through sheer force of will. That should be impossible." "Yeah, I get that a lot." He straightened, his usual grin returning. "But we're not done yet. Still have a warp rift to seal, and a generatorium to protect. Can't have our facility exploding. Very bad for property values." They continued deeper into the complex, fighting through lesser demons. The warp rift pulsed ahead, reality bleeding through into impossible colors and shapes. "The Geller field generators are there," Carmilla pointed. "If we can activate them, we can seal the rift and save the day," Alucard finished. "Very heroic, very exciting, very... Oh no." "What?" "The generators are surrounded by bloodletters." He counted quickly. "About 100 of them. And they're definitely going to try to stop us from penetrating to the control panel." Despite everything, Carmilla groaned. "Did you have to phrase it that way?" "Yes, absolutely. It was perfect, and you know it." He drew his guns. "Ready to thrust deep into enemy positions and activate some machinery. I promise to make it as uncomfortable as possible. I hate you. You like me. You just hate that you like me. It's complicated. We'll work through it during therapy, assuming either of us survives long enough for therapy." They charged the bloodletters together, Blessed rounds and 13mm shells tore through demonic flesh. Carmilla's power sword carved through Cornete warriors with practiced precision. Alucard fought with his usual mix of skill and absolute insanity. "Come on, demons, is that all you've got?" he shouted, shooting 3 bloodletters while dodging a 4th. "I've penetrated way harder defenses than this. You're not even trying." "Blood for the blood god," a bloodletter shrieked. Yeah, blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, we've all heard it." Alucard kicked the demon in what might have been a face. "Get new material. The war cry's been the same for 10,000 years. It's stale." Carmilla reached the control panel, her hands moving quickly across the ancient mechanisms. "Cover me. I need 30 seconds. You need me to protect you while you work the controls?" Alucard grinned. "Sister, if you wanted me to watch you manipulate ancient machinery, you could have just asked. No need to make it a combat scenario. Just shoot the demons." Shooting the demons, while making it weird. It's what I do best." He held the line, his guns never stopping, his regeneration keeping pace with the damage the bloodletters inflicted. Each wound healed almost instantly, each injury just another sensation to catalogue and laugh about. 20 seconds, Carmilla called. "Take your time, I'm having fun." Alucard shot a bloodletter, used its corpse as a shield against another, then threw the corpse at a third. "This is great exercise, very cardio, really gets the blood pumping, well, other people's blood. Mine's more theoretical at this point." 10 seconds. The warp rift pulsed, sensing what was happening. More demons poured through, desperate to stop the activation. Alucard dissolved into shadows and reformed in front of the control panel, his back to Carmilla, protecting her with his own body. Demons clawed at him, tearing through flesh that regenerated as quickly as they damaged it. 5 seconds. "Any time now would be great, sister," Alucard called back, his voice strained. "Not that I'm not enjoying being a meat shield, very intimate, very protective, but I'm running low on quips." 3, 2. The Geller field generators activated with a sound like reality, remembering how to function properly. The field expanded, pushing through the sector, driving back the warp's influence. The demons screamed as they were forcibly banished, torn away from reality and dragged back into the Imperium. The warp rift collapsed in on itself, sealing with a thunderclap of normalizing space-time. Silence fell across the generatorium. Alucard stood, covered in wounds that were already healing, surrounded by dissipating demon corpses, grinning like a madman. "That," he said, "was the most fun I've had since the Bloodthirster. We should do this more often." Carmilla deactivated the control panel and turned to look at him. "You used yourself as a shield." "Yeah. So? You protected me, despite constantly making inappropriate jokes and being deliberately disturbing." "Well, yeah. You needed 30 seconds. I gave you 30 seconds." He tilted his head. "Was that not obvious? I'm chaotic and inappropriate, but I'm not going to let allies die. That would be rude." She stared at him, clearly trying to reconcile the vampire who made everything sexual with the vampire who just sacrificed his body, repeatedly, to protect her. "You're complicated." "I'm 500 years old," Alucard said. "I contain multitudes, most of them screaming. It's very crowded in here." He gestured to his head. "But yeah, I'm complicated. Comes with the immortality." Before she could respond, Inquisitor Vex's voice crackled over the Vox. "Sector 9 secure? Report." Carmilla activated her Vox bead. "Secure. Warp rift sealed. Demons banished. The vampire was instrumental." "I was very instrumental," Alucard shouted toward the Vox. "Extremely helpful. Saved the day. Barely made it weird." "Okay, I made it very weird, but we still won." A pause. Then, acknowledged. "Return to command. We have a new situation developing." "There's always a new situation," Carmilla muttered. That's what makes it fun, Alucard said brightly. Endless problems requiring violent solutions. It's paradise. They walked back through the carnage, past the bodies of defenders and dissipating demon corpses. Carmilla kept glancing at Alucard, clearly trying to figure him out. "You're staring," he said without looking at her. "You're confusing." "I get that a lot. 500 years of immortality tends to make you contradictory. I'm a monster who protects people. I'm irreverent, but effective. I make everything uncomfortable, but still get the job done." He grinned at her. "Think of me as a very complicated tool in the Emperor's toolbox. Extremely sharp, slightly broken, definitely not OSHA compliant." "The Emperor's toolbox," she repeated. "Or the Inquisition's, or Gazgakul's, or my own. The metaphor breaks down if you think about it too hard, which is why I don't think about things. I just do them and deal with consequences later." They reached the command center, where Vex, the Watchmaster, and several other Imperial officers were gathered around a tactical display. "What's the new situation?" Carmilla asked. Vex looked up, his expression grim. "Dark Eldar, a raiding party hit one of our supply convoys. Took prisoners, left a message." "What kind of message?" Alucard asked, suddenly interested. Vex pulled up a pick capture, carved into the side of a destroyed transport, in elegant script. "Send us the vampire. We wish to play." Alucard's grin became absolutely predatory. "Oh," he said quietly. "Oh, this is going to be fun. The Dark Eldar, the Drukhari, sadists who fed on suffering, who made torture into an art form, wanted to play with Alucard. This was, objectively, the worst decision they'd ever made." "You cannot go," Vex said firmly. "It's obviously a trap." "Of course it's a trap," Alucard said excitedly. "That's what makes it fun. They think they can torture me. They think they're the masters of suffering. It's adorable." "The Drukhari have perfected agony over 10,000 years, Carmilla warned. "They don't kill their victims. They keep them alive, aware, suffering for centuries." "So have I," Alucard countered. "I've been refining pain resistance for 500 years. This is a competition, a torture-off, and I guarantee I'm going to win." "This is insane," the Watchmaster said flatly. "All my best ideas are insane," Alucard agreed. "Besides, they took Imperial prisoners. We need to get them back, and the best way to do that is let the Dark Elder think they've caught me, then make them deeply regret their life choices." Gazgakul, who'd been listening via Vox from his ship in orbit, laughed. "I like this plan. Boss goes and messes with the pointy-eared. Gits, they find out torturing him don't work. Everyone has a laugh." "Except the Dark Eldar," Alucard specified. "They're going to have a terrible time, which is the whole point." "You'll need support," Vex said. "If you're actually doing this." "I am." "Then we send backup. Battle Sisters, Krieg forces." "No," Alucard said firmly. "This is a me thing. The Dark Eldar want the vampire. They get the vampire. Alone, no backup, just me, walking into their trap and seeing who breaks first, the masters of torture, or the unkillable vampire who's been through worse." Sister Carmilla stepped forward. "You'll die." "I've died lots of times. I'm very experienced at it. Always comes back." He grinned at her. "But thank you for caring. It's sweet. In a concerned warrior nun kind of way." "I'm not." She stopped herself. "Just don't do anything stupid. I'm walking into a Dark Elder torture den alone. Stupid is kind of the baseline." He checked his guns, reloaded both, and headed for the exit. "Tell them I'm coming. Tell them I accept their invitation, and tell them to bring their best torture implements, because I'm going to make this memorable." The Dark Eldar raid had originated from Comora, the Dark City in the Webway, but they'd established a temporary base on Gehenna Prime's moon, a facility built into ancient ruins, protected by painfield generators and guarded by Kabbalite warriors. Alucard walked up to the front entrance. Just walked up. No stealth, no tactics, no clever plan. He strolled to the main gate like he was visiting a friend. The Kabbalite warriors guarding the entrance stared at him through their Baroque helmets. One of them said, clearly confused. You're supposed to try to infiltrate. This is a trap. I know it's a trap, Alucard said cheerfully. That's why I'm here. You invited me. It would be rude not to show up. The warriors exchanged glances. This wasn't how raids usually went. Normally, victims screamed and ran. They didn't casually present themselves. You understand we're going to torture you, yes? The lead warrior clarified. Yep. For a very long time. Looking forward to it. And we're going to enjoy every second of your suffering. That makes two of us. Alucard's grin widened. So, are we doing this or what? I've got a very enthusiastic walk scheduled for later, and I'd like to fit in being tortured before then. The warriors reluctantly escorted him inside. The facility was exactly what Alucard expected, all sharp edges and suffering, decorated with pain-inducing architecture and what were probably the screaming bodies of previous victims. Very on-brand for Dark Eldar. They brought him to the central chamber, where the raid's leader waited. Archon Vex Rithnia, mistress of the Cabal of the Flayed Skull, stood with predatory grace. She wore armor that looked like it was made from solidified agony, and her weapons were designed to cause maximum suffering with minimum lethality. The vampire, she purred, her voice like broken glass and honey. You actually came. How delicious. And you're the torture expert, Alucard said brightly. Great to meet you. Love the aesthetic, very pain is pleasure chic. The screaming decorations are a nice touch. Vex Rithnia smiled, showing teeth filed to points. You seem eager. Most victims arrive screaming. I'm not most victims. He spread his arms. I'm an unkillable vampire who's spent 5 centuries being shot, stabbed, burned, blessed, cursed, and generally killed in creative ways. And I always come back. So, frankly, I'm curious what you can do that hasn't been done before. Oh, we'll show you. She gestured, and Kabbalite warriors seized Alucard, dragging him toward a torture frame that hummed with pain field generators. We'll show you things that will make you beg for death, and then we'll deny you even that mercy. Ooh, kinky. Alucard let them strap him in. Is this where you do the whole "I'm going to break you" speech? Because I love those. Very dramatic. Sets the mood. Vex Rithnia activated the pain fields. Energy lanced through Alucard's body. Pure suffering, distilled into psychic form, designed to overwhelm consciousness with agony. Alucard screamed. Then he started laughing. Oh, that's good. That's really good. What is that? Psychic pain induction? Neural overstimulation? It's lovely. The Archon's smile faltered. You're enjoying this. I'm enjoying making you uncomfortable with how much I'm enjoying this, Alucard clarified. See, here's the thing about pain. After 500 years, you get really familiar with it. It's like an old friend, hurts like hell, but you learn to appreciate the sensation. Vex Rithnia increased the intensity. The pain fields cranked up to levels that would reduce a space marine to unconsciousness. Alucard's body convulsed, every nerve firing in agony. He kept laughing. More! Give me more! I haven't felt this alive in decades. The Kabbalite warriors were exchanging confused glances now. This wasn't how torture worked. Victims were supposed to break, not encourage their tormentors. We have other methods, Vex Rithnia said, clearly unsettled. She activated different devices. Flesh hooks that burrowed into skin, neural lashes that targeted specific pain centers, even warp-touched implements designed to torture the soul. Alucard endured it all, and made inappropriate comments the entire time. Ooh, flesh hooks, very penetrative. I like that you're being thorough. Is that a neural lash? Because it feels like a neural lash, very stimulating. Wait, are those warp-touched implements? You're using chaos artifacts. That's cheating, but also very creative. I respect the innovation. After 2 hours, Vex Rithnia stopped. Not because she wanted to, because her torture implements were overheating. They weren't designed for subjects who regenerated constantly, who enjoyed the pain, who made everything weird. "What are you?" she demanded, genuine fear creeping into her voice. Alucard, hanging from the torture frame, covered in wounds that were healing even as new ones were inflicted, grinned through the blood. "I'm a fuck-mothering vampire," he said. "I've killed a lot of people to earn that title. I deserve to be called such. And you?" His eyes glowed crimson. "You thought you could break me with torture. The Dark Eldar, masters of suffering, thought they could make a 500-year-old vampire beg." The restraints shattered. Not broken, shattered, exploding into fragments as Alucard's strength overwhelmed them. He dropped from the frame, landing in a crouch, shadows writhing around him. "My turn," he said quietly. What happened next was less a fight and more a lesson. Alucard showed the Dark Eldar, beings who had perfected torture and suffering over millennia, what real horror looked like. He didn't just kill them. He consumed them, drank them dry, absorbed their souls, added them to his collection. Each one joined the 3 million screaming in his consciousness, experiencing firsthand what true damnation meant. Vex Rithnia tried to run. Alucard caught her. "Where are the Imperial prisoners?" he asked, his voice cold. They're in the lower cells. Please, we can negotiate. Can you unkill the people you've tortured over the centuries?" Alucard asked. "Can you undo all that suffering you've caused?" "No, but then we have nothing to negotiate." He bit into her throat, and Vex Rithnia's last thought was the realization that she'd made a terrible, terrible mistake. Alucard freed the Imperial prisoners, 24 Krieg soldiers, and 3 battle sisters, all of them traumatized but alive. He escorted them out of the facility, past the bodies of their Dark Eldar captors. One of the rescued battle sisters stared at him. "You saved us?" "Yeah. Occupational hazard of being a complicated monster." He grinned, though it was less manic now. "Come on, let's get you back to Imperial lines. I've had my fun, and you people need medical care." They walked out of the Dark Elder facility together. Behind them, the torture chambers burned. Alucard had set them ablaze before leaving. A final fuck you to beings who thought they were masters of suffering. As they approached Imperial lines, Sister Carmilla and Inquisitor Vex were waiting. "You survived," Carmilla said, sounding almost relieved. "I always survive," Alucard said. "That's kind of my thing. Although I'll admit, the Dark Eldar were creative, very committed to their craft. But ultimately," he grinned, "they learned you can't break something that's already broken." Vex looked at the rescued prisoners. All accounted for, all alive, all freed, and the Dark Eldar who took them are all dead. Well, absorbed into my consciousness where they'll scream for eternity, but close enough. "You consumed them." "I consumed them," Alucard confirmed. "Added about 40 new souls to the collection. They're not happy about it, but then again, neither are the other 3 million. They'll adjust." He turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and if any more Xenos want to play with me, tell them how this went. Tell them the vampire doesn't break. Ever. And anyone who tries ends up screaming in the void of my consciousness forever." "That's not reassuring," Vex said. "It's not meant to be reassuring. It's meant to be terrifying." Alucard's grin widened. "Because I'm not your hero, Inquisitor. I'm your monster, and monsters don't break. They just find new things to devour." He walked away, humming a tune from 5 centuries ago, leaving the Imperials to process what they'd just witnessed. The vampire had walked into a Dark Eldar trap alone. He'd been tortured by masters of suffering, and he'd emerged victorious, having consumed his tormentors and rescued every prisoner. It was, objectively, insane. But it was also undeniably effective. And in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, effectiveness mattered more than sanity. 3 weeks after the Dark Eldar incident, Inquisitor Vex received a disturbing report from the Ecclesiarch of Gehenna Prime. The civilian population is corrupted, the priest said, his voice tight with barely suppressed horror. They're quoting the vampire, using his phrases. The infection has spread to 17 hive cities. Vex pinched the bridge of his nose. Show me. The Ecclesiarch pulled up picked captures from various locations across the planet. In a munitions factory, workers had spray-painted on the wall, "I'm a fuck-mothering vampire," with a crude drawing of Alucard shooting demons. In a guardsman barracks, soldiers were heard saying very enthusiastic walk before assault operations. One sister hospitaller had reportedly told a patient, "Pain is just sensation, and sensation is fun." And most disturbingly, a group of underhive gangers had started calling themselves the Alucard Appreciation Society and were engaging in increasingly theatrical violence while making inappropriate jokes. "Emperor preserve us," Vex muttered. "He's mimetically infectious." "We must purge this corruption," the Ecclesiarch insisted. "Cleanse the population, restore proper—" "You want to purge 17 hive cities because people are quoting a vampire?" Vex asked. "That's billions of otherwise loyal Imperial citizens." "They're using profanity, making jokes about violence. This is working morale," Sister Carmilla said, entering the chamber. She looked exhausted, like someone who'd been dealing with this for days. "I've been embedded with the civilian population. They're not corrupted by chaos. They're just entertained. Entertained by a vampire's vulgarity. Entertained by someone who fights the Imperium's enemies and survives," she corrected. "The vampire makes them laugh. He makes warfare seem less terrifying. And frankly, on a planet that's been under siege for 3 decades, that's valuable. It's heretical. It's effective," Vex said quietly. "The civilian population has higher morale than they've had in years. Productivity is up. Enlistment in the Guard has increased by 12%, all because a vulgar, inappropriate vampire made them feel like they could win." The Ecclesiarch sputtered. "But the language, the implications, are less important than keeping the planet functional," Vex said firmly. "We'll monitor the situation. If it becomes actual corruption, we'll address it. But for now, let the civilians have their jokes." "You're permitting this?" "I'm recognizing reality. The vampire exists. People respond to him. We can either accept that or waste resources fighting a mimetic infection that isn't actually harmful." Vex stood. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to find the vampire and discuss this with him." He found Alucard in the most unlikely place. A civilian cantina in Hive Tertius, surrounded by off-duty guardsmen and factory workers, telling stories. And then the Demon Prince says, "You cannot defeat me." And I'm thinking, yeah, I can. I just have to be creative about it. So I grab it by the... Are those kids listening? There are kids here. Should not be telling this story with kids around. "The kids left 10 minutes ago," a guardsman said. "You told them to go play somewhere else." "Oh, good." So anyway, I grabbed it by the conceptual manifested essence of its divine corruption, which is a fancy way of saying I grabbed its soul and started pulling. "Alucard," Vex interrupted. The vampire looked up, grinning. "Inquisitor, want a drink? They've got this local brew that tastes like promethium and regret. It's terrible. I love it. We need to talk. Outside." "Ooh, are we in trouble?" Alucard stood, much to the disappointment of his audience. "Sorry, folks. The authority figure wants to lecture me about being a bad influence. We'll continue story time later. Remember, if someone tries to torture you, make it weird. They hate that." They walked outside into Gehenna Prime's perpetual smog. Vex waited until they were alone. "The civilian population is quoting you." "I know. Isn't it great?" Alucard beamed. "I'm mimetically infectious. like a virus, but with more personality. It's creating theological concerns. Everything I do creates theological concerns. I'm an undead vampire who regenerates from being vaporized. My existence is theologically problematic. He lit a cigarette, which was pointless since he didn't need to breathe but looked cool. But the people like me, I make them laugh. That bothers you. It bothers the ecclesiarchy. The ecclesiarchy worships a corpse and thinks suffering is noble. Their opinion is noted and immediately discarded. Alucard took a drag, the cigarette's ember glowing in the smog. Look, Inquisitor, these people have been fighting for 30 years. They're tired, scared, convinced they're going to die in a trench somewhere for a god who doesn't even notice them. And then I show up, unkillable, irreverent, making jokes while killing their enemies. And suddenly they have hope. Hope that a vampire will save them. Hope that someone can survive this nightmare, that victory is possible, that they can face horror with humor instead of just grim acceptance. He flicked the cigarette away. I'm not trying to corrupt anyone. I'm just being myself. If that happens to make people feel better about their horrifying existence, that's a bonus. Vex was silent for a moment. Then, you care about them, the civilians. Don't be ridiculous, I'm a monster. But Alucard's grin was softer. I just don't like seeing people broken. I've been broken. It's not fun. If I can make their lives slightly less terrible while killing things that want to kill them, why wouldn't I? Before Vex could respond, alarms screamed across the hive. A Vox broadcast, "Panicked! All units! Coronate warband detected in Sector 12. They're challenging someone to single combat. They're calling for the vampire." Alucard's grin widened, sharp and predatory. "Ooh, another challenge. I'm very popular today. Let's go see what Khorne's boys want." They rushed to Sector 12, where a Khornet champion stood in the middle of a cleared plaza. He was massive. Power armor corrupted by centuries of slaughter, a massive chain axe in each hand, skulls dangling from every available surface. "Vampire!" the champion bellowed. "I am Blood Reaver Kargoth, chosen of Khorne. I challenge you to single combat, one-on-one, no tricks, just blood and steel." Alucard walked into the plaza, hands in his pockets. "Hi, I'm Alucard. You must be the angry Chaos Marine who wants to fight me. Love the aesthetic. Very blood and skulls. Although between you and me, the skull decorations are a bit much. Like, we get it. You're into death. Very committed to the theme." "Silence. We fight now." Okay. But quick question first. When you said no tricks, did you mean no magic tricks or no deception tricks? Because I'm going to regenerate constantly, and that might count as a trick depending on your definition. "I care not. Khorne cares not from whence the blood flows." Yeah, I've heard that one before. You Khorne guys really need new marketing material. Alucard drew the jackal and castle. "But sure, let's dance. Fair warning, though. I'm going to make this really weird. It's kind of my thing." The champion charged, both chain axes revving. Alucard didn't dodge. He let the first axe strike him, carving through his torso, then shot the champion in the face while being bisected. "Ooh, aggressive. I like that. Very penetrative. You're not wasting time with foreplay." His body regenerated while he kept shooting. The champion roared in frustration, swinging both axes. Alucard dodged this time, moving like liquid shadow. "You know what your problem is?" he asked conversationally, firing the castle at the champion's knee joints. "You're very straightforward, all offense, no subtlety. It's very Khorne of you, but also very predictable." "I do not need subtlety. I have rage." "Rage is great for motivation, terrible for tactics." Alucard vaulted over a chain axe swing. "See, I've been fighting for 500 years. I've learned that sometimes you need to be creative. Mix things up. Add some spice to your violence." He holstered his guns and grabbed one of the champion's axes bare-handed, the chain teeth tearing through his palms. Like this, very hands-on, very intimate. We're really getting to know each other now. What are you? Alucard twisted, leveraging his supernatural strength, and actually managed to tear the chain axe from the champion's grip. Yoink! Mine now! He swung the stolen weapon, the chain teeth carving into the champion's corrupted armor. This is fun. I'm using your weapon against you. Very poetic, very ironic. Khorne must be watching this and thinking, wow, that vampire's really making my champion look silly. I will kill you. You can try, but spoiler alert, it won't stick. Alucard was grinning now, eyes blazing with genuine excitement. You know what I love about Khorne worshippers? You're all so earnest. No deception, no manipulation, just pure, honest violence. It's refreshing. The champion grabbed Alucard with one massive hand and slammed him into the ground hard enough to crater the rockcrete. Die! Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Alucard's voice came from the crater, muffled but cheerful. Although technically I've never actually died. More like temporarily discorporated. The semantics are complicated. He erupted from the ground in a spray of shadows, reforming with the stolen chain axe still in hand. Round 2, this time I'm warmed up. What followed was less a duel and more a performance. Alucard fought with theatrical flair, making inappropriate comments the entire time, turning a sacred Khornate honor duel into a comedy routine. Is that your best swing? Because I've been hit harder by nuns. Literally. Sister Carmilla hit me with a power sword last week. Stop talking. I can't. Talking is half the fun. The other half is watching you get progressively more frustrated. He ducked under a wild swing. See, you're getting emotional. That's affecting your technique. Very un-Khorne-like. The blood god expects better. The gathered crowd, Imperial soldiers, civilians, even some orcs who'd wandered over, were watching with rapt attention. This wasn't just a fight. This was entertainment. Alucard noticed his audience and grinned wider. Ladies and gentlemen and orcs, welcome to tonight's performance, Vampire vs. Angry Chaos Marine. Rated R for ridiculous violence and inappropriate commentary. I will rip your soul from your body. You can try. Fair warning, there's 3 million other souls in here and they're all very cramped. It's crowded. You probably won't enjoy it. The duel had been going for 20 minutes. The champion was frustrated, exhausted, and starting to realize he might have made a terrible mistake. Alucard, by contrast, was having the time of his life. You know what? The vampire said, dodging another chain axe swing. I like you. You're committed. You're enthusiastic. You're exactly the kind of opponent I enjoy. He shot the champion in the chest. Very satisfying in a violent, non-sexual way. Well, mostly non-sexual. The violence is kind of sexy. Is that weird? That's probably weird. Shut up and fight. I'm doing both, multitasking. Alucard dropped the stolen chain axe. It was getting boring, and drew his own weapons again. But I feel like we're not connecting on a deeper level. Like, yeah, we're trying to kill each other. But where's the intimacy? The passion? He blurred forward, moving faster than before, and grabbed the champion's helmet. They were face to face now, Alucard's crimson eyes meeting the corrupted lenses of the Chaos Marine's armor. Let me show you something special, Alucard said quietly. Something I don't usually do for first dates. His form exploded into shadows. Not external constructs this time, transformation. His body dissolved and reformed into something larger, more monstrous, eyes multiplied across his form, teeth manifested in impossible configurations. He became a living nightmare, held together by will and 3 million screaming souls. Level 0.5, he said, his voice layered with countless others. Partial release, just enough to make this interesting. The champion actually hesitated. even pumped full of Khorne's rage, even beyond fear, so even devoted to violence. The sheer wrongness of what Alucard had become made him pause. "What are you?" "I'm hungry," Alucard said, and his shadow form lunged. What happened next was less a fight and more an absorption. Alucard's shadowy mass wrapped around the champion, dozens of spectral mouths biting, tearing, consuming. The Khornate warrior fought back, his axes carving through shadow, but for every piece he destroyed, more appeared. "You taste like rage," Alucard's voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. "Like 10,000 battles and 1,000,000 kills, it's intoxicating. I can feel Khorne's touch on your soul. Very spicy, very aggressive. I like it. Get off me!" That's what she said. Even in his monstrous form, Alucard couldn't resist. Sorry, had to. The setup was perfect. He began pulling, trying to absorb the champion's soul like he'd absorbed 3 million others. But Khornate champions were tougher, their souls bound to their god by chains of blood and violence. "Oh, you're stuck to Khorne." Alucard sounded delighted. "Like spiritual superglue, very committed. I respect that." He pulled harder. The champion screamed, not in pain, but in rage. His connection to Khorne flared, the blood god's power flooding through him, trying to burn away the vampire's influence. Oh, the god is getting involved now. Alucard's shadow form pulsed with excitement. "This is amazing. I'm playing tug-of-war with a chaos god over a champion's soul, and I'm winning." He wasn't, actually. Khorne's grip was too strong, the champion too deeply corrupted. But the fact that Alucard was competing at all, that a vampire could challenge a god's claim, was unprecedented. Finally, Alucard released the champion and reformed into his normal shape, looking slightly disappointed. "Okay, I can't absorb you. Khorne's got you locked down tight. Very possessive. Clearly, you two have a thing going on. I'm not going to be a homewrecker." He raised his guns. "But I can still kill you the old-fashioned way." The champion was on his knees now, exhausted from the spiritual struggle. His armor was cracked, his weapons damaged, his body broken. "Khorne will avenge. Yeah. Divine vengeance, blood for the blood god. We've all heard it." Alucard walked closer, guns aimed at the champion's head. "You fought well, very enthusiastic, very committed. You made this fun, but..." He paused. "Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you a choice." "What?" "I'll let you live," Alucard said. "On one condition. You go back to whatever Chaos Warband you came from, and you tell them about me. Tell them there's a vampire who fights for fun, who can't be killed, who makes everything weird. Tell them to send better champions next time, because honestly, you were good, but I want a challenge." The champion stared at him through a cracked helmet. "You spare me?" "I'm insulting you by sparing you, telling you you're not worth killing permanently, that you're just a messenger." Alucard grinned. "See? Still making it weird. It's what I do." Khorne will be confused and angry, which sounds like a personal problem. Now go, leave, take your warband, and run. And tell everyone you meet that the vampire is very bored and looking for better opponents." The champion struggled to his feet, grabbed his remaining chain axe, and limped away. His warband, what was left of it, followed in stunned silence. The crowd of onlookers erupted in cheers. Alucard turned, taking a theatrical bow. Thank you. I'll be here all week." "Well, actually, I'll be here indefinitely because I'm immortal and stuck in this timeline, but you get the idea." Sister Carmilla pushed through the crowd, looking equal parts impressed and horrified. "You let him live. I let him spread fear, much more effective. Now every Chaos Warband in the sector knows there's an unkillable vampire who makes combat uncomfortable." He grinned at her. "See? Strategic thinking. I'm not just a pretty face and inappropriate commentary. You're impossible. I'm improbable. There's a difference." He looked at the crowd, at the civilians cheering, at the guardsmen recording the fight on pic captures. This is going to spread, isn't it? The story of me fighting a Cornete champion and letting him live just to be insulting? Undoubtedly. Good. Alucard turned to the crowd. Remember, everyone, if you fight chaos, make it weird. They hate that, especially Khorne. He's all about honor and glory and taking combat seriously. So don't take it seriously. Make jokes. Be inappropriate. They literally cannot handle it. That's terrible advice, an officer shouted from the crowd. It's amazing advice, Alucard shouted back. Psychological warfare, disrupting enemy morale through sheer audacity. It's a legitimate tactic. Probably. Vex appeared beside Carmilla, watching the vampire work the crowd. He's becoming a folk hero. He's becoming a problem, she corrected. The entire planet is starting to emulate him. Is that bad? Vex asked quietly. They're fighting harder, surviving longer, maintaining hope in the face of apocalypse. If emulating an inappropriate vampire achieves that, is it truly corruption? Before she could answer, Ghazghkull's voice boomed from the crowd, the war boss having pushed his way through to get a better view. That was a proper scrap, boss, but you should have crumped him. Letting him go is weird. That was the point, Alucard called back. Maximum weirdness. Make the enemy uncomfortable. It's advanced tactics. It's weird tactics. Same thing. An orc knob appeared beside Ghazghkull, looking thoughtful. Boss, can we start making things weird when we fight? Sounds fun. We's orcs. We already make things weird. We's made of mushrooms and we fight 'cause we like it. Yeah, but we could be more weird. Look da humi orc. Alucard overheard this and grinned. See? Even the orcs get it. Make everything weird. It's the future of warfare. It's the future of heresy, Carmilla muttered. Heresy, tactics, entertainment, what's the difference? Alucard walked over to her. Come on, sister. Admit it. You're having fun. Watching me fight, seeing the crowd's reaction, knowing that for once the Imperium is winning instead of just slowly losing. That feels good, doesn't it? It's not about feelings, it's about duty. Duty can also feel good. They're not mutually exclusive. He leaned closer, grinning, and I saw you smile during the fight, just for a second. You enjoyed watching me make that champion uncomfortable. I did not. You totally did. You're in denial. It's okay. Lots of people are in denial about enjoying my company. You're in good company with all the other people in denial. She pushed him away. You're insufferable. I'm delightful. There's a difference. He looked at the dispersing crowd. So, what's next? More chaos to fight? Different enemy? I'm riding high on that combat encounter and ready for more violence. Actually, Vex interrupted, we have a situation developing. The Necrons in the northern sectors are fully awakening. Entire tomb worlds are coming online. Necrons. Alucard's eyes lit up. Ancient robot skeletons who hate all life. I've been wanting to fight those. Are they as spooky as they sound? They're effectively immortal, Vex said. They phase out when destroyed and rebuild themselves. Conventional weapons are nearly useless. Alucard's grin became absolutely predatory. So you're saying they're like me? Unkillable. Always coming back. A genuine challenge. Extremely dangerous would be more accurate. Same thing. He looked at Ghazghkull. Want to come fight ancient robot skeletons who phase out when you kill them? Sounds like fun. I's always ready for a scrap, the war boss rumbled. Especially against the metal gits. I put up good fights. Then it's settled. Alucard spread his arms wide. Kriegers, orcs, battle sisters, and one very enthusiastic vampire. We're going to war against the Necrons. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be a disaster, Vex said quietly. Those are the same thing, Alucard countered. Disaster just means exciting situation with uncertain outcomes, and I love uncertain outcomes. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, And Inquisitor, thank you. For what? For not trying to kill me today. I know it's tempting. I'm very unkillable and inappropriate. But you let me do my thing, and because of that, everyone here is a little more hopeful, a little more willing to fight, a little less broken. His grin softened. That matters, more than you know. He walked away before Vex could respond, heading toward the northern sectors where ancient machines were waking from millions of years of sleep. Behind him, the Imperium's forces prepared for war. Again, as they always did. But this time, they prepared with hope, with humor, with the belief that maybe, just maybe, they could win. And all because a 500-year-old vampire couldn't stop making inappropriate jokes. The Necron tomb world of Xerxes Prime was waking up, and it was pissed. Cryptex walked among warrior legions, their living metal bodies phasing in and out of reality. Immortals took up positions with Gorse weaponry that could flay flesh from bone at a molecular level. And at the center of it all, a Necron lord, Overlord Kemratek the Undying, coordinated the awakening with cold, mechanical precision. Then Alucard showed up. "Hello!" he shouted across the battlefield, standing on top of a wrecked tank for visibility. "My name is Alucard. I'm a vampire. I'm extremely hard to kill, and I've come to disrupt your very orderly awakening with chaos and inappropriate commentary." The Necrons paused. Collectively, their behavioral protocols didn't account for this. Overlord Kemratek's voice echoed across the field. Mechanical and ancient. Identify, unknown biological entity. Threat assessment, minimal. Directive, terminate with extreme prejudice. Minimal? Alucard sounded offended. "I'm not minimal. I'm maximum. I'm extremely threatening. Ask anyone. Ask the demon princes I've banished. Ask the dark Eldar I consumed. I'm a legitimate threat." The Necrons opened fire. Gauss flare beams lanced across the battlefield, each one capable of stripping a human to bare skeleton in seconds. They hit Alucard from dozens of angles simultaneously. His flesh dissolved, stripped away layer by layer, until only his skeleton remained. Then he regenerated. "Okay." His voice came from a skull that was regrowing a face. "That tickled. What are these weapons? They're like antimatter combined with molecular deconstruction. Very penetrative." "I respect the technology." Flesh knitted back over bone. Organs reformed. Within seconds, Alucard stood whole again, grinning. "Let's try that again, but this time..." He drew both guns. "I shoot back," the Jackal and Kasul roared. Blessed 13 Namads and silver rounds struck Necron warriors, punching through living metal. The warriors staggered but didn't fall, their self-repair systems already working, nanomachines knitting metal back together. "Oh, you regenerate too?" Alucard sounded delighted. "This is perfect. We're both unkillable. This is going to take forever. I love it." Behind him, the combined Imperial Orc assault force charged. Krieg soldiers advanced with mechanical discipline. Orcs ran forward screaming with joy. Battle sisters chanted hymns while firing blessed bolters. It was absolute chaos. Which was exactly how Alucard liked it. He waded into the Necron lines, shooting, stabbing, tearing metal warriors apart with his bare hands. Every time they phased out to regenerate, he'd turn to the next one. "You guys are like the universe's angriest alarm clocks," he shouted. "Sleeping for millions of years, then waking up grumpy and shooting everything. It's adorable." A Necron immortal, larger, tougher than standard warriors, targeted him with a Tesla carbine. Lightning arced across the battlefield, burning through Alucard's body. He screamed, then laughed. "Electric torture. I haven't felt this since the Spanish Inquisition. They had this thing called a lightning stick that was really just..." He shot the immortal mid-sentence. "Okay, that's not important right now." Gazkul crashed into the Necron lines like a green avalanche, his power claw tearing through living metal. "These metal gits are proper tough," I like 'em." "They're great, right?" Alucard called back. "It's like fighting angry skeletons who refuse to stay dead. Very relatable." Sister Carmilla fought nearby, her power sword carving through Necron warriors with blessed efficiency. "These constructs are beyond heretical. They mock death itself." "So do I," Alucard pointed out. "We have that in common. Maybe I should befriend them. We could form a refuses to die support group." "That's not how this works. You don't know that." Overlord Kemratek strode forward, his staff of light crackling with ancient technology. Analysis. The biological entity designated Alucard demonstrates unprecedented regenerative capabilities. Hypothesis. Potential threat to awakening protocols. Directive. Total atomization required. "Ooh, the boss is talking." Alucard turned his full attention to the Necron Lord. "Hi, love the aesthetic. Very ancient Egyptian death god. Although between you and me, the whole soulless metal skeleton thing is a bit overdone. Have you considered adding some color? Maybe some nice red accents? Goes great with the death imagery." The Overlord raised his staff, and reality itself seemed to bend. Crackling energy gathered, building to a crescendo that made the air scream. Then it fired. The beam struck Alucard with enough force to vaporize a battle tank. It didn't just destroy his body. It atomized it, reducing him to component particles scattered across the battlefield. The Necron forces paused, sensors confirming termination. 5 seconds passed. 10. 15. Then the particles began moving. Against all physics, against all logic, they flowed together. Blood reformed, tissue knitted, bones assembled from scattered atoms. Alucard stood, completely restored, grinning like a madman. "That was amazing. Do it again." Overlord Kemratek's behavioral protocols couldn't process this. "Impossible. Atomization complete. Target should be terminated. This does not conform to known biology." "I don't conform to anything," Alucard shouted back. "I'm a fuck-mothering vampire. I've died and come back more times than you've been awake, and I'm just getting started." His shadows erupted, darker and more aggressive than before. His eyes blazed crimson. When he spoke, 3 million voices spoke with him. "You want to see real power, ancient machine? Let me show you what happens when I stop holding back." His form expanded, not physically but existentially. The shadows around him deepened until they seemed to swallow light itself. Spectral warriors began manifesting, his absorbed souls given temporary form. "Release restraint level 0. Alucard's voice echoed across the battlefield. "Full power, every soul I've consumed, every drop of blood I've spilled, all of it, right now." 3 million spectral forms manifested across the battlefield. Knights in ancient armor. Soldiers from every era. Civilians caught in crossfire. Every single person Alucard had absorbed over 5 centuries, given temporary existence. And at the center of it all, Alucard himself. No longer pretending to be human, no longer holding back, just pure vampiric power unleashed. "This is what I am," he roared, his voice shaking the ground. "Not a man, not a demon, not a god. Just a monster who's been killing for 500 years and having the time of his death." The spectral army surged forward, swarming the Necron forces. They couldn't permanently damage living metal, but they could overwhelm it, dragging down warriors and immortals through sheer numbers. Alucard walked through the chaos, his presence heavy enough to make reality groan. He approached Overlord Kemratek directly. "You want to analyze me?" he asked, his voice layered with countless others. "Want to understand what I am? Let me make it simple. I'm something your ancient builders never accounted for. I'm entropy and regeneration in one package. I'm wrong in ways your logic can't process." The Overlord raised his staff again, but Alucard grabbed it. Living metal met undead flesh, and for a moment, neither yielded. "You've been asleep for millions of years," Alucard said, his crimson eyes meeting the Overlord's cold green sensors. "You woke up thinking you'd reclaim the galaxy, but the galaxy changed, and one of those changes is me." He pulled, trying to tear the Overlord's essence from its metal shell. The Necron Lord resisted, its ancient technology fighting against vampiric consumption. "You cannot consume me. I am not biological. I am pure energy bound to living metal sustained by ancient star god technology." "Yeah, I'm getting that," Alucard interrupted. "But here's the thing. I've consumed demons, beings made of pure warp energy. If I can damage those, I can damage you." He couldn't fully absorb the Necron. The technology was too different, too alien, but he could disrupt it. The Overlord's form began to glitch, phasing in and out of reality uncontrollably. "Error, system malfunction, unknown interference, can't phase out properly." Alucard grinned through 3 million faces. "Welcome to my world. Being broken and not working right. It's great." Around them, the battle raged. Krieg soldiers held defensive positions. Orcs fought with gleeful abandon. Battle sisters chanted hymns while executing Necrons with blessed rounds. And 3 million spectral warriors swarmed everything that moved. It was chaos. It was madness. It was exactly what Alucard lived for. Finally, the Overlord managed to break free from Alucard's grip, phasing backward. Its form was damaged, glitching, but still functional. Analysis. You are a threat beyond calculation. Directive. Strategic withdrawal. This tomb world will be abandoned and sterilized from orbit. Wait, you're running? Alucard sounded offended. We were just getting started. I haven't even shown you my weird party trick where I turn into a swarm of bats. Well, I can't actually do that, but I could probably figure it out if I tried hard enough. The Necron forces began phasing out, returning to their tomb ships. Within minutes, the battlefield was empty, save for the corpses of those too damaged to phase properly. Alucard stood in the center of it all, his spectral army dissipating back into his consciousness, his form returning to normal. He paused. That was actually kind of disappointing. I wanted to fight longer. They just left. Sister Carmilla approached, looking exhausted. You drove off an entire Necron awakening, through sheer force of personality and refusing to die. And making it weird, Alucard added. Don't forget the weird part. Very important. Guzkul lumbered over, laughing. The metal gits ran away. They saw boss go all spooky and decided he didn't want none of it. I prefer to think they recognized a superior opponent and made the strategic choice to retreat. Alucard grinned. But yeah, I scared ancient machines. That's going on my resume. Inquisitor Vex arrived via Valkyrie, surveying the battlefield. The Necrons have withdrawn. They're abandoning Xerxes Prime entirely. This sector is secure. Because of me, Alucard said proudly. I secured an entire sector through aggressive personality and refusing to stay dead. I'm a hero. You're a menace, Vex corrected. But there was something in his tone. Not quite approval, but acceptance. But you're our menace. I'll take it. Alucard looked at the assembled forces. Krieg, Orcs, Sisters, all of them bloodied but victorious. You know what? We make a pretty good team. Dysfunctional, probably heretical, definitely weird, but effective. We's the best team, an Orc shouted. We are tolerating this arrangement, Carmilla said firmly. Same thing? Alucard grinned at her. Come on, sister. Admit it. You're having fun. I'm doing my duty. Duty can be fun, and you smiled again. I saw it during the fight, when I atomized and came back. You were impressed. I was concerned about structural integrity of the battlefield, she said, clearly lying. You were totally impressed. Around them, soldiers began securing the area, tending to wounded, celebrating victory, the usual post-battle routine. But something had changed. The forces weren't just relieved to survive. They were proud, excited. They'd faced impossible odds and won, and they'd done it alongside a vampire who made everything weird. Morale was higher than it had been in decades, and all because one unkillable vampire couldn't stop making inappropriate jokes while killing the Imperium's enemies. In the grim darkness of the far future, there was only war. But now, there was also laughter. And somehow, that made all the difference. The summons came from the highest authority in the sector, Lord Commander Valorian himself, speaking on behalf of the High Lords of Terra. Alucard was to report to the nearest relay station capable of astropathic communion. The Emperor, or rather, those who spoke in his name, wanted to discuss the vampire situation. "This is either going to be hilarious or result in my immediate execution," Alucard said cheerfully, walking into the astropathic chamber. "Either way, I'm curious." The chamber was massive, lined with psychic dampeners and enough religious iconography to stock 3 cathedrals. At the center, a master astropath sat in meditative communion, his blind eyes weeping blood from the strain of maintaining the connection. "The Emperor speaks," the astropath wheezed. "Does he, though?" Alucard asked, genuinely curious. "Because from what I understand, he's been a corpse on a fancy chair for 10,000 years. Can corpses speak? I mean, I'm technically a corpse and I speak, but I'm special." A psychic presence filled the room, not the Emperor himself, but the collective will of the Imperium channeled through the Astronomicon. It was heavy, ancient, and deeply annoyed. "Vampire, you have disrupted Imperial operations, corrupted doctrine, allied with Xenos." "Hi, yes, that's me. I'm the vampire. Nice to finally meet you. Or meet the collective psychic bureaucracy speaking for you." The distinction is unclear. Alucard waved. "Big fan of your work. The whole unifying humanity thing was very impressive. Although the follow-up has been a bit lacking. 10,000 years of slow decline is a rough sequel. Your irreverence is noted." "Thank you. I work hard on it. 500 years of practice." He leaned against a pillar, casual despite the crushing psychic weight. "So what's this about? Am I in trouble? Because I've been killing your enemies very effectively. Demons, Chaos Marines, Dark Eldar, Necrons. I've got quite the resume." "You are effective. This is acknowledged. But your methods are unorthodox." "Unorthodox is my middle name." "Well, not literally. My middle name is Vlad, technically. Vlad Cepes. You might have heard of me. I was kind of a big deal in medieval Romania. Impaled a lot of people. Good times." The psychic presence paused, and Alucard could feel it processing, searching ancient records, cross-referencing. Vlad Cepes, Wallachian Voivode, 15th century, Terran calendar, presumed deceased, 4276. Presumed correctly, I died. Then I came back as a vampire. It was a whole thing, very traumatic, but I got over it by drinking a lot of blood and killing a lot of Ottomans. You claim to predate the Emperor's unification of Terra. I don't claim anything. I'm older than your Golden Boy's public debut. I was impaling heretics before he decided to unify humanity. Hell, I invented some of the techniques your Imperium uses." Alucard grinned. "So really, you should be thanking me. I'm a pioneer." The psychic presence grew heavier, more focused. Alucard felt it probing, trying to understand what he was, how he existed, whether he was a threat. "The Emperor knows of you." Alucard straightened, suddenly interested. "He does?" "Ancient records, sealed archives, references to the Impaler, the Undying, the Blood Drinker. The Emperor encountered you, briefly, before the Unification Wars." "Holy shit!" Alucard's grin widened. "I met your god before he was a god. That's actually really cool. What did he think of me?" Quote, dangerous but containable, monitor but do not engage. The vampire serves no master and threatens no empire. Let him be. He called me containable. Alucard laughed. That's adorable. Even back then I was unkillable. Did he actually try to contain me, or did he just make a note and move on? The Emperor had priorities, unifying terror, conquering the galaxy. You were deemed irrelevant to his grand design. Irrelevant, I love it. The most powerful psycho-humanity ever produced looked at me and went, not worth my time. That's actually kind of respectful. He recognized I wasn't a threat to his plans. You were not. Then. But I am now. Alucard tilted his head. Because I'm fighting your enemies, making your soldiers more effective, giving the Imperium victories it desperately needs. That makes me a threat. You disrupt, you corrupt, you make the Imperium uncomfortable. I make everyone uncomfortable. It's my natural state. But let me ask you something. Alucard walked closer to the astropath, addressing the psychic presence directly. Is the Emperor actually alive in there, on the Golden Throne, or is it just machinery and faith keeping a corpse animated? The psychic presence recoiled, offended. The Emperor lives. He protects. He guides. Yeah, but does he think? Does he feel? Is there actual consciousness in there, or is it just psychic reflex? Because I've absorbed 3 million souls. I know what consciousness looks like. And from everything I've heard, your Emperor is basically a battery for your Astronomican. Heresy. Truth, Alucard corrected. Uncomfortable truth. The Emperor's been sitting on that throne for 10,000 years, unable to move, unable to speak, possibly unable to think. And you've built an entire religion around him. That's not devotion, that's denial. You dare. I dare because I'm unkillable and I've got nothing to lose. Alucard's grin became sharp. But here's the thing, I'm not your enemy. I could be. I could walk into your imperial palace right now, right up to the Golden Throne and see for myself whether your god is alive or dead. And there's nothing you could do to stop me. The psychic presence flared with rage and power. The entire chamber shook. The astropath screamed, blood pouring from his eyes. You would not dare. But I won't, Alucard interrupted, his voice suddenly serious. Because despite everything, despite my irreverence and inappropriate behavior and complete disregard for your religious doctrine, I'm actually helping. I'm killing your enemies. I'm making your soldiers stronger. I'm giving humanity a chance to actually win instead of just slowly dying. He looked at the bleeding astropath, then at the psychic presence radiating from him. So, here's my offer. I keep doing what I'm doing. Fighting your wars, making everything weird, being an unkillable pain in your collective ass. And you let me. Because the alternative is I get bored and leave, and you lose the most effective weapon you accidentally acquired. You offer terms. To the Imperium. I offer reality. Take it or leave it. The presence was silent for a long moment. Then, the Emperor's will is unclear, but his earlier assessment stands. Dangerous but containable. Monitor but do not engage. You may continue your operations, but you will be watched. I'm always watched. I'm very watchable. Some say too watchable. Alucard grinned. But thank you for not trying to kill me. Again, it's very mature of you. One final warning, vampire. If you approach the Golden Throne, if you attempt to verify the Emperor's condition, the full might of the Imperium will be brought against you. Noted. But between you and me? Alucard's expression became thoughtful. I don't need to see him to know the truth. Your Emperor is alive, barely, suffering, conscious enough to feel every second of those 10,000 years. It's the worst kind of existence, aware but powerless, alive but unable to act. The psychic presence was silent. And you know what the really fucked up part is? Alucard continued. I understand him. because that's what immortality is. Existence without end, watching everything around you change and die while you remain. He's trapped in a throne. I'm trapped in an unkillable body. We're both prisons for consciousness that should have ended centuries ago. You sympathize with the Emperor. I sympathize with anyone stuck in eternal existence against their will. It's a special kind of hell. He turned to leave, but unlike him, I'm free. I can walk away whenever I want, so maybe, in a weird way, I'm the lucky one. He walked out of the astropathic chamber, leaving the psychic presence to contemplate his words. Behind him, the master astropath collapsed, the connection severed. Attending tech priests rushed to stabilize him. In the corridor, Sister Carmilla was waiting. What happened? I had a chat with the Emperor, or the bureaucracy speaking for him. Same difference. Alucard lit a cigarette. Still pointless, still cool. Turns out he knew about me. Back on Terra, before he was a god. Called me dangerous but containable. Are you? Containable. Not even a little bit. He grinned at her. But I let them think they can monitor me. Makes them feel better. And honestly, I like this arrangement. Fighting for the Imperium, making everything weird, having people to talk to who aren't screaming souls in my head. It's nice. You're strange. I'm 500 years old and sustained by absorbed souls. Strange doesn't even begin to cover it. He started walking. Come on. Gazakul wants to plan our next assault. Something about chaos, fortresses in the maelstrom. Should be fun. Everything is fun to you. That's because I learned a long time ago that if you don't find joy in existence, existence becomes unbearable. He looked at her seriously. Your Emperor knows that. Stuck on his throne for 10,000 years, probably the only thing keeping him sane is knowing his suffering protects humanity. That's purpose. That's meaning. And what's your purpose? Entertainment, Alucard said simply. I exist to fight, to survive, to make everything uncomfortable. It's not noble, it's not heroic, but it's mine. They walked in silence for a moment. Then Carmilla asked quietly, Did he really meet you? The Emperor? According to his archives, yes. Probably during the Age of Strife, when he was still gathering power. I don't remember it. 500 years is a long time, and I've killed a lot of people. But apparently, he looked at me and decided I wasn't worth his time. And now I'm fighting his wars and making his soldiers laugh. Funny how things change. Alucard grinned. But hey, at least I'm memorable. Not everyone can say they were personally classified by the Emperor as dangerous but containable. You're proud of that. I'm proud of everything I do, even the terrible things, especially the terrible things. He threw an arm around her shoulders. She immediately shrugged it off. Come on, sister, let's go plan some violence. I'm feeling energized after that chat with divine bureaucracy. You're impossible. I'm improbable. There's a difference. Yes, I know. You've said that before. And I'll keep saying it. Repetition is key to education. He grinned at her discomfort. You know, for someone who hates me, you spend a lot of time around me. I'm monitoring you for the Inquisition. You're enjoying my company. There's a difference. There is no. She stopped herself. Why do I even bother arguing with you? Because arguing with me is more fun than praying for the millionth time, Alucard said cheerfully. I provide entertainment, conversation, inappropriate commentary, all the things religious devotion lacks. They reached the command center where Gazakul was waiting with a crude map of chaos-held territories. The war boss looked up, grinning with metal teeth. Boss, use back. Did the Humi Emperor try to kill ya? Nope, he actually gave me permission to keep doing what I'm doing. Alucard examined the map. So what are we crumping next? Chaos Fortress into Maelstrom. Big place, lots of gits to kill, gonna be a proper scrap. Perfect. Alucard's grin was absolutely predatory. Let's bring the whole gang. Kriegers, orcs, battle sisters, maybe some of those Mechanicus guys who keep trying to study me. Make it a party. A party, Carmilla repeated flatly. We're assaulting a chaos fortress, and you're calling it a party. Every assault is a party if you have the right attitude. Alucard pointed at the map. So, what's the approach? Frontal assault? Infiltration? Orbital bombardment followed by aggressive penetration of their defenses? You did that on purpose. Did what on purpose? The phrasing, the innuendo. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just discussing tactics, very thrusting, penetrative tactics, for entering their fortress. Gazgul laughed. I like how the boss makes everything sound weird. It's funny. See? Alucard gestured at the war boss. The orcs get it. They appreciate my humor. The orcs are mushrooms who think violence is the answer to everything, Carmilla said. And we's right, Gazgul declared. You're right, Alucard agreed. Violence is the answer. Well, violence and inappropriate commentary. Combined, they're unstoppable. Inquisitor Vex entered the command center, looking exhausted. I've received word from Terra. The Emperor, or his representatives, have given you operational clearance, conditional clearance, with extensive monitoring. I know I was there. Well, there psychically, through an astropath. Very trippy. Alucard grinned. So, officially, I'm an Imperial asset now. Officially, you're a containable threat being tactically utilized. It's the most reluctant approval I've ever seen. I'll take it. That's basically a job offer. He looked at the assembled command staff, Imperial, Orc, and everything in between. So, team, are we ready to assault a chaos fortress and make it extremely uncomfortable for everyone involved? Always, Carmilla said, surprising everyone, including herself. Wah! Gazgul roared. The Emperor protects, Vex said quietly. Even when his protector is a 500-year-old vampire. Especially then, Alucard corrected. Because honestly, your Imperium needs all the help it can get, and I'm very helpful in a chaotic, inappropriate, extremely violent kind of way. They began planning the assault. Strategies were debated, resources allocated, forces mobilized, and at the center of it all, a vampire who'd lived for 5 centuries, who'd been classified by the Emperor himself as dangerous but containable, who made everything weird and uncomfortable and somehow more effective. The 41st millennium had no idea what it was in for, but Alucard was ready to show it. The assault on the Chaos Fortress in the Maelstrom was going perfectly, which meant someone was about to betray everyone. That someone was Lord Inquisitor Crane, the same Inquisitor who'd tried to torture Alucard weeks ago, the same one who'd been humiliated when his enhanced interrogation failed, the same one who'd been stewing in resentment ever since, watching the vampire gain influence, power, and Imperial approval. He'd made a deal with Chaos, specifically with a Sinchian sorcerer who promised power, revenge, and the ability to finally destroy the vampire that had made him look foolish. The betrayal came during the assault's critical moment. Imperial forces were breaching the fortress's inner sanctum, orcs were fighting through the courtyard, battle sisters were purging cultists, and Crane activated his trap. Warp rifts opened throughout the fortress. Not demon manifestations, teleportation. Crane had positioned Imperial forces into kill zones, then brought in Chaos reinforcements right on top of them. Hundreds of Imperial soldiers died in the first seconds. Caught between friendly forces and teleporting Chaos Marines, they were slaughtered. Alucard was fighting through the fortress's main hall when he felt the warp energy spike. Oh, that's not good. That's the opposite of good. That's... A warp rift opened directly beside him. Chaos Marines poured through, bolters firing. He was hit dozens of times, his body torn apart by mass reactive rounds. He regenerated mid-fall, hit the ground, and immediately understood what had happened. Betrayal, he roared over the vox. Someone just sold us out. Warp rifts opening in coordinated positions. This is an inside job. Sister Carmilla's voice crackled back. Confirmed. We're surrounded. Requesting static. The Vox network was jammed. Oh, this is bad, Alucard muttered, shooting Chaos Marines while dodging chain axes. This is very bad. Someone planned this. Someone with access to Imperial tactical networks, and he saw Crane. The Inquisitor was standing in a side corridor, watching the carnage with satisfaction, and his eyes were glowing with warp fire. You've got to be fucking kidding me, Alucard said. The torture guy made a deal with Chaos. That's the most predictable betrayal. Did no one see this coming? He blurred toward Crane, shadows erupting. Chaos Marines tried to intercept, but he phased through them, reformed in front of the corrupted Inquisitor, and grabbed him by the throat. Hello, Crane. Nice eyes. Very glowy. When did you sell your soul to Tzinch? Before or after I made you feel inadequate about your torture techniques? Crane smiled, his corrupted features twisting. After, you humiliated me, made me question everything I'd believed about power and control. And in my weakness, I found strength. The changer of ways showed me the path. The path to being a traitorous asshole? Alucard tightened his grip. Very inspiring, really moving. I'm going to kill you now. You cannot, Crane wheezed. I have seen the future. The changer has shown me. You will die here, vampire. Finally, permanently, completely. I've heard that before. It never works out. Alucard drew the jackal with his free hand. But thanks for warning me. Very sporting. Before he could fire, reality screamed. A massive warp rift opened in the fortress's central chamber, and something huge began pulling itself through. Not a daemon, not a Chaos Marine, a demon Primarch. Magnus the Red, the Crimson King, Primarch of the Thousand Suns, physical manifestation of sorcery and betrayal. His cyclopean eye blazed with warp fire, his wings spread wide enough to cast shadows across the entire fortress. Oh fuck, Alucard said quietly. Magnus's voice shook the fortress foundations. The vampire, the anomaly, the one who disrupts the warp without being of the warp. I've come to understand what you are. I'm flattered, Alucard called up at the towering Primarch. Really, but I'm a bit busy right now. Killing a traitor. Can we reschedule? You cannot kill what is already dead. Magnus gestured, and Crane's body exploded into ash and warp energy. He was a tool, a means to bring you here, to this place, where reality is thin, where I can study you. Alucard dropped Crane's ashes. You betrayed Imperial forces, killed hundreds of soldiers, and corrupted an Inquisitor. Just to study me? Knowledge is power, and you are knowledge I do not possess. The demon Primarch descended, each step causing the ground to crack. You predate the Imperium. You survived the Age of Strife. You exist outside the warp's influence, yet wield power beyond mortal capacity. I will understand you completely. That's really creepy. Alucard backed away, assessing the situation. A demon Primarch, one of the Emperor's own sons, corrupted and ascended. This was way above his usual pay grade. Also very violating. You can't just study people without their consent. There are ethical considerations. I am beyond ethics. I'm knowledge incarnate. You're an asshole incarnate. Alucard drew both guns. But fine. You want to study me? Let's see how well you study someone who refuses to fucking die. He opened fire. Blessed rounds and 13mm shells struck Magnus's ethereal form, passing through or sparking off psychic shields. The Primarch laughed. Physical weapons, how quaint. Then his eye focused and psychic fire lanced out. It struck Alucard with enough force to vaporize a land raider. His body was incinerated, reduced to ash that scattered across the fortress floor. Magnus watched the ashes, waiting. 3 seconds passed. 5, 10. The ashes began moving. No, impossible. I atomized. The ashes reformed, flowing together impossibly, reconstructing muscle and bone and consciousness. Alucard stood, completely whole, grinning like a madman. Surprise. I'm very hard to kill. It's kind of my whole thing. Magnus stared, his single eye wide with genuine shock. You regenerated from complete atomization. Your physical form was destroyed. There was no biological material remaining. Yet I'm sustained by 3 million absorbed souls, not biology. Alucard interrupted. As long as one soul remains, I exist. And trust me, 3 million souls aren't going quietly. The demon Primarch processed this. Fascinating. You are. Not biological, not warp entity, not daemon. You are a construct of absorbed consciousness, given physical form through vampiric magic, a walking violation of thermodynamics. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever called me. Alucard reloaded his guns. But I'm still going to shoot you, because you betrayed Imperial forces, you killed my allies, and you're standing between me and my very enthusiastic walk. Your weapons cannot harm me. Then I'll get creative. Alucard charged, shadows erupting, his form expanded, becoming monstrous, 3 million souls manifesting as spectral warriors. Level 0, full release, every soul I've consumed, all of them against a Daemon Primarch. This is either going to be amazing or suicidal. Both, Magnus said, almost kindly. Definitely both. The spectral army swarmed the Demon Primarch. 3 million souls, knights, soldiers, civilians, every person Alucard had absorbed, attacking as one. They couldn't physically harm Magnus, but they could swarm him, overwhelm his senses, distract his focus. Alucard used the distraction to get close. Very close. Uncomfortably close. You know what your problem is, Magnus? He asked, standing directly in front of the Primarch while spectral warriors swarmed around them. You think you're so smart, so knowledgeable, but you've never met someone who's died as many times as I have. And death teaches you things about existence that all your books and sorcery never could. He placed both hands on Magnus's ethereal chest. So let me teach you something, Demon Primarch. He pulled. Not physically, spiritually. Trying to do to Magnus what he'd done to 3 million humans, absorb, consume, add to his collection. Magnus screamed. Not in pain, in outrage. You dare try to consume a son of the Emperor? I dare because I'm unkillable and insane. Alucard roared back, his voice layered with 3 million souls. Also because you killed my friends, betrayed people I actually liked. And that makes me very angry. They grappled, vampire and demon Primarch, mortal horror and divine corruption, locked in a spiritual tug-of-war that made reality groan around them. Alucard couldn't win. Magnus was too powerful, too connected to the warp, too fundamentally wrong for vampiric consumption. But he could fight. He could make the Primarch work for it. You are stronger than you should be, Magnus wheezed, genuine strain in his voice. I'm sustained by 500 years of spite and absorbed souls. Alucard pulled harder. I don't know how to give up. Around them, the fortress was collapsing. The combined psychic pressure of their struggle was tearing reality apart. Warp rifts opened and closed randomly. Chaos forces were fleeing. Even Chaos Marines knew when to run. Outside, Sister Carmilla fought through to the central chamber, took one look at the vampire grappling with a demon Primarch, and immediately tried to help by shooting Magnus with blessed bolter rounds. They did nothing, but she tried. Sister, Alucard called out, his form flickering under the strain. Get everyone out. This place is coming down. I'm not leaving you. I'm unkillable. You're not. Leave. She hesitated, then started coordinating evacuation over Vox. Imperial forces began retreating, dragging wounded, fighting through Chaos rearguards. Gazgkul's voice boomed over the chaos. "Boss, we's pulling back. You comin' or what?" "I'm a bit busy," Alucard screamed back, still locked in struggle with Magnus. "Go, I'll catch up." "Probably." The orcs retreated. The Kriegers maintained disciplined withdrawal. The Battle Sisters provided covering fire, and Alucard remained locked in combat with a demon Primarch, knowing he couldn't win but refusing to give up. "You are admirable in your futility," Magnus said, his voice strained. "But this ends now." Psychic fire erupted from every surface of the fortress. The entire structure was becoming a massive warp ritual designed to tear Alucard apart on a metaphysical level. "Yeah, it does end," Alucard agreed. "Because I'm about to do something really stupid." He released Magnus and detonated his spectral army. All 3 million souls released at once, exploding outward with enough psychic force to shake the maelstrom itself. The fortress detonated, reality screaming as physical and warp space collided. Magnus was thrown back, physically hurt by the blast. "Impossible! You sacrificed your own power source." "Temporary sacrifice," Alucard called out, his form flickering without the souls to sustain him. "They'll come back, they always do, but you're going back to the warp, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows a vampire made a demon Primarch look stupid." The fortress collapsed completely. Reality reasserted itself violently, ejecting both combatants. Magnus was banished back to the warp, his form dissipating with a scream of rage and grudging respect. Alucard was thrown across the battlefield, his body broken, his soul slowly returning to his consciousness one by one. He landed in a crater, barely conscious, but grinning. "Worth it," he wheezed. "Totally worth it." Sister Carmilla found him minutes later, half dead but regenerating. "You idiot, you magnificent, insane idiot." "Hi, sister." Alucard coughed up blood that immediately got reabsorbed. "Did we win?" "We survived. That counts as winning." She helped him stand. "The Chaos Fortress is destroyed. Magnus is banished, and you're apparently the first person in 10,000 years to physically fight a demon Primarch and survive. Add it to my resume." He grinned at her. "Under stupid things that worked. It's a long list." They walked back to the evacuation point together, Alucard leaning on her slightly despite not technically needing the support. Behind them, the maelstrom churned, angry and confused. The vampire had fought a demon Primarch and lived to make inappropriate jokes about it. Somewhere in the warp, Magnus the Red was already planning their rematch. And somewhere on Terra, in the deepest archives, a new note was added to Alucard's file. Threat level upgraded to Demon Primarch adjacent. Recommend extreme caution. Do not engage without overwhelming force, or preferably do not engage at all. 2 weeks after the Magnus fight, Alucard stood on the observation deck of Gazgkul's flagship, looking out at the stars. His souls had fully returned, all 3 million of them screaming as usual. His body was completely healed, and he was bored. "We need a new target," he announced to the assembled War Council. Gazgkul, Sister Carmilla, Inquisitor Vex, the Krieg Watchmaster, and several orc knobs all turned to look at him. "You fought a demon Primarch 2 weeks ago," Vex said flatly. "How can you possibly be bored?" "That was 2 weeks ago. Ancient history. I need new challenges." Alucard pulled out a data slate with a list of potential targets. "So I've been thinking. We've fought demons, Chaos Marines, Dark Eldar, Necrons, and a demon Primarch. What haven't we fought?" "Tyranids," Carmilla suggested. "Oh right, space bugs. The ones that tried to eat me that one time." Alucard's eyes lit up. "We should fight more Tyranids. Where's the nearest hive fleet?" Leviathan is still active in the Octarius sector, Vex said. But that's perfect, Gazkul interrupted. We go back to Octarius, finish what we started, crump both debugs and more orcs. It's a win-win. Except for the part where Octarius is the deadliest war zone in the Imperium, Carmilla pointed out. That's what makes it fun. Alucard grinned. Besides, I have a theory. The Tyranids are biological. They consume biomass. I'm technically biomass that regenerates infinitely. What happens if they try to eat me? You die horribly, Vex said. Or I don't, and we learn something interesting about Tyranid digestion. Alucard was already planning. Think about it. I get consumed, regenerate inside the hive ship, and cause chaos from within. It's brilliant. It's suicidal. Same thing. He looked at the council. Come on, people. Where's your sense of adventure? Your willingness to try stupid things that might work? I left it somewhere between fighting a bloodthirster and dueling a demon primarch, Carmilla said dryly. Well, find it again, because we're going to Octarius. Alucard turned to Gazkul. You in? Always. More fighting, more crumping. It's perfect. Kriegers. Alucard looked at the Watchmaster. We serve the Emperor. If this serves the Emperor, we will comply. I'll take that as a yes. He looked at Carmilla. Sister, she sighed. Someone needs to make sure you don't do anything too stupid. So that's a yes. Alucard grinned at Vex. Inquisitor, you coming? Or are you going to stay here and file reports about how I keep making everything weird? I'm coming, Vex said tiredly. Someone needs to document this insanity for the archives. Future Inquisitors need to know what happens when you give a vampire operational clearance. Spoiler alert. Chaos, violence, and inappropriate commentary. Alucard spread his arms wide. So it's settled. We're going to Octarius. We're going to fight Tyranids. We're going to make the hive mind very confused about why its biomass keeps regenerating. This is a terrible plan, Carmilla said. All my best plans are terrible, Alucard agreed. That's what makes them great. Gazgukul pulled out his crude star charts. So, Octarius, then what? After we crump the bugs? After? Alucard thought about it. Well, there's always more chaos to fight, more demons to banish, more enemies of the Imperium to make uncomfortable with my personality. He paused. Or we could go after something really ambitious. Like what? Vex asked, immediately suspicious. Like, what if we assaulted the Eye of Terror? Alucard's grin widened. Just walked in there, right into the heart of Chaos territory, and started killing everything that looked at us funny. That's suicide, Vex said. Sounds proper, Gazgkul rumbled. It's insane, Carmilla added. It's brilliant, an orc knob agreed. You'd all die, Vex insisted. We die fighting, Gazgkul declared. That's the best way to go. I wouldn't die, Alucard pointed out. I'd just regenerate a lot. It would be very inconvenient, but ultimately survivable. He looked at the assembled forces. Imperial, Orc, and everything in between. But that's future planning. First Octarius, then we see where the galaxy takes us. Because honestly, for the first time in 500 years, I'm not bored. I've got allies, enemies worth fighting, and an entire galaxy of chaos to wade through. You're enjoying this, Carmilla observed. I'm loving this, Alucard confirmed. Don't you get it, sister? This is what I've been looking for. Not just combat, but purpose. Fighting alongside people who actually matter. Making a difference in a universe that desperately needs someone to punch chaos in the face and laugh about it afterward. He walked to the viewport, looking out at the stars. The 41st millennium is a nightmare. Everything's dying. The Imperium's collapsing. Chaos is winning. Xenos are everywhere. It's perfect. How is that perfect? Vex asked. Because it means there's always another fight, always another enemy, always another impossible situation that needs someone crazy enough to wade in and start killing. He turned back, grinning. And I'm very crazy, immortal, inappropriate, and very enthusiastic about violence. The galaxy made the mistake of letting me exist. Now it has to deal with the consequences. Gazkul laughed, the sound shaking the deck. I looked the way you think, boss. We're gonna crump the whole galaxy together. That's the spirit. Alucard raised an imaginary glass. To the most dysfunctional, probably heretical, definitely effective alliance in Imperial history. May we kill everything that needs killing, make everything uncomfortable, and somehow survive long enough to do it again. To survival, Carmilla said quietly, actually raising her bolt pistol in salute. To crump in, Gazkul roared. To documentation of unprecedented insanity, Vex added, raising a data slate. To acceptable casualties in service of the Emperor, the Watchmaster intoned. They all looked at each other, humans, orcs, and one vampire who'd somehow brought them all together through sheer force of personality and refusal to die. You know what? Alucard said, grinning wider than ever. I think we're going to be okay. Not good. This is Warhammer 40k. Nothing's ever good. But okay. Surviving, fighting, making terrible decisions that somehow work out. That's the most optimistic thing you've ever said, Carmilla observed. Don't get used to it. Tomorrow I'll be back to inappropriate jokes and making everyone uncomfortable. He looked out at the stars again. But today I'm just happy to be here. Undead, unkillable. Surrounded by allies who keep trying to shoot me but also keep fighting alongside me. We don't keep trying to shoot you, Carmilla protested. You shot me 3 times this week. Those were accidents. One was point blank during training. You startled me. By existing? By existing! Gazkul laughed again. I like you two. You fight like an old married couple. We are not. Carmilla stopped herself, realizing she was proving his point. I hate all of you. You love us, Alucard said confidently. You just hate that you love us. It's complicated. We'll work through it during therapy, if any of us survive long enough for therapy. The flagship's engines fired, tearing a hole into the warp. Destination? Octarius. After that? Who knew? The galaxy was vast, filled with enemies, and every single one of them was about to learn what happened when you tried to fight something that refused to die. Alucard stood at the viewport, watching the warp swirl around the ship, thinking about everything that had happened. He'd fallen through a dimensional rift and ended up in the 41st millennium. He'd fought demons, Chaos Marines, Dark Eldar, Necrons, and a demon Primarch. He'd made allies, actual allies, not just temporary arrangements. People who fought beside him, tolerated his personality, and somehow made existence less unbearable. For a 500-year-old vampire who'd spent centuries being alone, that was nice. You're smiling, Carmilla said, appearing beside him. I smile a lot. No, you grin. That's different. This is an actual smile. Without the predatory edge. Don't get used to it. But the smile didn't fade. I'm just content. For now, it won't last. It never does. But for this moment, yeah, I'm good. They stood in silence, watching the warp together. Then Alucard added, although if you tell anyone I had a genuine emotion, I'll deny it and make the next 6 months very uncomfortable for everyone. There's the vampire I know, Carmilla said, almost fondly. Still here, still inappropriate, still making everything weird. He grinned at her, back to the predatory grin, the mask firmly in place. But thanks for not shooting me today. I appreciate the restraint. The day's not over yet. That's fair. The ship traveled through the warp, carrying its cargo of soldiers, orcs, and one immortal vampire toward new battles, new horrors, and new opportunities to make everything uncomfortable. In the grim darkness of the far future, there was only war, but now there was also laughter, and somehow that made all the difference. 6 months had passed since Alucard fell into the first millennium. 6 months of constant warfare, unlikely alliances, and enough inappropriate commentary to scandalize entire sectors. The Octarius campaign had been everything he'd hoped for. Brutal, chaotic, and thoroughly entertaining. The Tyranids had tried to consume him. He'd regenerated inside a hive ship and caused so much damage that the entire bioform had to eject him like cosmic indigestion. The Orcs had laughed for weeks. After Octarius came a string of victories that defied Imperial strategic predictions. Chaos strongholds fell. Demon incursions were repelled. Enemy forces retreated in confusion after encountering an unkillable vampire who made everything weird. The casualty reports were complicated. Imperial losses were down significantly. Morale was at unprecedented highs, but the ecclesiarchy was having collective aneurysms about doctrinal corruption, and half the Inquisition wanted Alucard executed on principle. The other half wanted to recruit him permanently. Now, Alucard stood on the same observation deck where he'd planned the Octarius assault, but this time he wasn't planning. He was reflecting. "You're being philosophical again," Sister Carmilla said, joining him. "It's disturbing. I'm 500 years old. I'm allowed to be philosophical occasionally." He didn't look at her, still watching the stars. "I've been thinking about what your Emperor said, about me being dangerous but containable. And he was wrong. I'm not containable. Never have been, never will be." He finally turned to face her. "But I'm also not your enemy. I could be. I could walk away right now and there's nothing anyone could do to stop me, but I won't." "Why not?" "Because for the first time in 500 years, I'm not alone." He gestured at the ship around them, at the crews, at the soldiers, at the Orcs in the cargo bay. All these people, all these weird dysfunctional allies, they make existence bearable, and that's worth more than you know. Carmilla was quiet for a moment. Then, "You've changed since you arrived. You're still inappropriate and impossible, but different. I have people I care about now, people who aren't screaming in my head." He grinned. "Don't worry though, I'm still going to make everything uncomfortable. That's non-negotiable. I wouldn't expect anything else." Inquisitor Vex approached, data slate in hand. "New orders from Segmentum Command. They want you for a priority assignment. Something about a chaos cult on a forge world that's corrupting STCs." "Ooh, corrupted technology." Alucard perked up. "That sounds fun." "Very sciency. Lots of opportunities to make Mechanicus tech priests uncomfortable." "The Mechanicus specifically requested you not be assigned to this," Vex added. "Then I'm definitely going." Alucard turned to leave, then paused. "You know what the funny thing is? I came to this galaxy by accident, fell through a dimensional rift, landed in the worst possible timeline, and thought, well, this is going to be temporary." "And now?" Carmilla asked. "Now I think I might stay a while. This 41st millennium of yours, it's terrible, hopeless, and slowly collapsing into entropy. But it's also got the best enemies, the most interesting allies, and enough chaos to keep me entertained for centuries." His grin widened. "Your Imperium made the mistake of letting me exist. Now I'm your problem. Forever, or at least until something finally manages to kill me permanently, which seems increasingly unlikely." "The Emperor protects," Vex said quietly. "The Emperor tolerates," Alucard corrected. "There's a difference, but I'll take it. Tolerance is better than most vampires get." Gazkul appeared, ducking through a doorway clearly not built for his massive frame. "Boss, we got a new target. When we leavin'?" "Right now. No sense waiting." Alucard headed for the exit. "Come on, everyone. Let's go corrupt some corrupt technology. Or uncorrupt it. The mission parameters are unclear, but I'm sure we'll figure it out through violence and inappropriate commentary." "That's not a plan," Carmilla protested. "Following anyway. It's the best kind of plan." Gazkul agreed. They walked through the ship together. Vampire, battle sister, orc warboss, and inquisitor. The most unlikely alliance in Imperial history, held together by shared violence, mutual exasperation, and the acknowledgement that sometimes you needed a monster to fight monsters. Behind them, the 41st millennium continued its slow collapse. Chaos corrupted. Xenos threatened. The Imperium bled on a million worlds. But in one small corner of that vast darkness, a vampire who'd lived for 500 years fought alongside allies he actually cared about, making everything uncomfortable, killing the enemies of humanity, and refusing to die no matter how many times reality tried to make it happen. Alucard had found his purpose in the grim darkness of the far future, and the grim darkness had found something it couldn't kill, couldn't corrupt, couldn't break, no matter how hard it tried. Somewhere in the warp, the Chaos Gods watched this development with mixed feelings. The vampire wasn't chaos. They couldn't corrupt him. But he wasn't order either. He made everything chaos just by existing. He was something new, something wrong, something that existed in the space between all their carefully planned conflicts and just thrived. Khorne respected his violence. Nurgle was intrigued by his endless regeneration. Tzeentch was frustrated by his unpredictability. Slaanesh was annoyed that none of their seductions worked. And the Emperor, silent, dying, trapped on his throne, looked down at this vampire who'd existed before his empire, who fought for humanity without being human, who made his soldiers laugh while killing his enemies. And somewhere in that vast, dying consciousness, the Emperor thought, dangerous but containable. I was wrong about the containable part, but perhaps that's acceptable. The Golden Throne hummed, the Astronomicon blazed, the Imperium endured, and one vampire walked through its darkness, making inappropriate jokes, refusing to die, and somehow, impossibly, giving humanity something it desperately needed: hope, wrapped in blood, violence, and crude humor, but hope nonetheless. The 41st millennium would never be the same, and Alucard was perfectly okay with that.